お疲れ様です。ともぞうです。今回もレインボーシックスシージトップリーグの振り返りやっていきたいと思います。いくつかエリア残ってるんですが、先にブラジルを消化したいということで、ブラジルの LCQ 今回は振り返りやっていきたいと思います。で、今回はもうファイナルのみ扱わせていただきたいなと思います。LCQ の勝ち上がりはこちらでした。フリアとエレベートは 2-1 でフリア。ここね、エレベートアカデミーに1マップ取られてるのはフリアだいぶどうなんだって感じだったんですけれども、勝ち上がり。フルクソと MIBR は2対0でフルクソ。E1 とブラックドラゴンズは2対0でブラックドラゴンズ。NIP とビボは2対1でビボという形となりました。そしてセミファイナル、フリアとフルクソは 2-0。そしてブラックドラゴンズとビボは 2-0 という形で、ある程度ね、試合は見てたんですけれども、このセミファイナル自体がだいぶ差のあるゲームになったので、今回はグランドファイナルのみでいいかなということで、フリアとブラックドラゴンズのみという形となりました。特に BD の方がね、E1 とブラックドラゴンズも見たんですが、かなり危なげない戦いを続けていまして、結構解消できてるんですよね。ビボとはもっと競るかなと思ったんですが、特に NIP とビボの試合が熱かったというところもあるので競るかと思ったんですが、ここの 2-0 もね、結構力の差を感じるという形になりましたので、順当のフリアと BD の勝ち上がりというところでした。BD に関してはグループステージ全然ダメだったんですけど、ここできっちり立て直してきてるなと。合わせがめちゃくちゃ上手くなってて、相手の良さを消す戦い方が終始目立ったので、そのあたりがフリアに対してどうなのかなと。かたやっぱりエレベートアカデミーに1マップを取られている不安のフリア、やはりかなりまだ課題が残っている LCQ だったかなという中で、グランドファイナルどうなったか見ていきたいと思います。先にマップ版説明しておきたいと思います。こちらです。フリアが銀行、そして BD がナイトヘイブンラボを取りました。そしてディサイダーが高層ビルという形になりました。フリア必殺の銀行ですよね。圧倒的に強いイメージがあるので、順当なピックかなという中で、ナイトヘイブンラボ BD が取ったというところで、この2マップ目が結構どうなるのかなというところはありましたが、予想外の展開になったグランドファイナル、それでは見ていただきたいと思います。今回はミラーで3マップ全部見ておりますので、準備フェーズは飛ばしておりません。それではどうぞ。やっときた。無事に始まりそうだぜ。かなりフリアはリラックスしてる感あるな。
BlackDragons might struggle, but this is a team that is peaking at just the right time. As we get into Furia's pick, they cannot break stride here.
All right, well, let's get down to the nitty-gritty here and see exactly what we are going to have for Bank and what's going to be removed. Ying is going to be unavailable as well as Monty for the offense, both of these making quite a bit of sense, especially like the Ying ban here. Shield operators, that's a usual trope as of the current meta, but for Ying, we see her sprinkled in every once in a while. This map very execute heavy, Ying also a very heavy execute operator. So pretty obvious that BlackDragons more than likely don't want to try and deal with her on that defensive end. Kaid going to be removed as well from Furia, and Mira will be our last defensive
結構ベーシックな場になったね。これは相手のやり方はあんま見てませんって感じなのか。
And we're going to have them yet again. Just some things to prevent any hatches from being locked up. And Mira, the usual nuisance that we see, getting swept under the rug as well. Time to get down to it, though, folks. Time to get down to business. Furia and BlackDragons here, as we will be, I believe, taking up the basement first.
We'll always go down to that not first floor, bottom floor bomb site. No, I suppose depending on the country you're in. I know some places I think do call like the basement the first floor, which obviously as an American find that peculiar.
Yeah, heresy, honestly.
割とよくある番来たね。いやでも銀行マジでフリア得意だからな。これでちょっとメジャーに向けた仕上がりが見えるかもしれんぞ。このマップつまずいたら多分 BD だぞ。
I think we've talked a couple times about how Furia will just put herds on an island with Miro windows in the vector and just like let him do his thing. This is one of those maps where he will very commonly on the first floor, the actual first floor, play on an island in CEO. So a lot of options are now taken away because of that, and so BlackDragons, they might lose that Mira.
やっぱ JB ってさ、いわゆるルーカーだよね。1で動くからデイモスとかトッケビとかやっぱ取るよな。早っ。で問題はこの人の差し込みなんだよな。お、未来人来たぞ。BD 勝ちます。クイーンさんかけてないじゃん。
He starts here practically every single time, Carter. So for BlackDragons, I hope that they know.
Herds is kind of like Cyber. Like, this guy's got his pathings. This guy likes to move where he's comfortable and where instinct is there. And I mean, you can already see. To be fair, even if Herds wasn't here,
ハーデス何待ちだこれ。ずっとここにいるぞ。あー、ワンチャンデイモスで取ってみたいな感じか、これ。デイモスで取って動かしたい的な感じか。床抜くんじゃない？あ、床抜かない。床抜いてフラグ投げるかなと思ったけど。いつ入ったんだ、フェリボックス。これで動かないといけなくなるんだよね。いやー、ハーデス偉い。無理はしない。うわっ、うわー、刺さったー。忍者ハーデス来た。
Yeah, he gets some damage dealt back to him, but oh man, what a start for FURIA.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's back.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Herds is in his bag in the stage 2 LCQ. He sits there for a minute and 40 seconds.
うわ、そんなところで待ってんだ、ヘイズ。
KZ patiently waiting. Taking a page out of Herds' book.
あは、絶望。
FURIA will land a nice pre-fire onto the head of KZ, but it's not enough. 3-piece for Herds. Like a panther waiting in the tall grass, he strikes when BlackDragons think, surely nobody.
まあまあまあ、1ラウンド目ですから、まだね。
Right?
今のはハーデスの配置がうまかったな。ただ、ファーストブラッドのフェリポックスがどこでキル取ったかだよな。フェリポックスのあの入り方がうまかった気がする。ハーデスバリ使ってる攻撃の時は。でもなんかアッシュとかは使ってなかった気がする。あ、違ったっけ？それヘイズか。300年くらい前から来てたら昔すぎて結果知らない可能性がある。それどういう未来人の設定なの？未来人の設定複雑すぎんか？
Positive things for FURIA and a huge green light moment for Herds. He saw all those and was like, all right, guess it's time to get on the gas. Ends up picking up those 2 kills and just blows the doors off BlackDragons as FURIA drives past them in round 1. And for BlackDragons, you already have to get a little worrisome, don't you? Because a lot of the responses we saw in that round just not very conducive to success. I especially did not like the rotate that we saw coming up Marble. There's just so many bodies still active for FURIA. You're more than likely never going to get something to go off like that, Carter, unless something is being seriously overlooked.
いや、今そういう作戦だったんだろうね。だからデイモスかなんかでおそらく炙り出して動かすって感じだったんだけど、あのピークの仕方見ると現地にドローン入ってたように見えるけどね、セキュリティには。まあでも初手だから、こっからっすよ。フェリポがブリッツか。ネイドがグリムなんだね。モンターニュの場合はネイドがモンターすること多いけどな。
I don't think Falapox will actually try to push that deep into the site if he is actually going to be the person putting the diffuser down. Well, as we know, FURIA actually, and I believe this is a global.
またなんか狙ってんな、ハーデス。
One of the teams with the least amount of plants, period. 9 times out of 10, this roster is going to kill you before they get that plant down. And this might be one of the situations here yet again. Herds is going to start working underneath. Stock, this is a great position here for the skeleton key of Buck.
もうじわじわいくね。じわじわいくね。まあ一回管理だよな、ハーデスはな。
are playing very, very close to the site, and they have not given FURIA any opportunities. The nature of a site like CEO, a lot of second floor, top floor sites in general.
ああ、ロビー来てないの分かってるのでかいね。これ何狙ってんだろう。多分ブリッツの存在隠してねえか、これ。どうですかね。何狙ってんだ。全然ガジェット壊せてないけどね。まあそうなるよね。当たれるよね。
Very easy kill for Ask to pick up. Herds does spot one. Gudo trying to get aggressive in main lobby. Will feed back. Likely a very important pick. Here have neutralized the man advantage held by BlackDragons.
これブリッツどうしたいかわかんないんだよな。時間ないぞ。いや、このアスクの位置どかせないと結構きついと思うけどね。どうまとめるんだろう。そっからブリッツ入れるの？そうだよね、アスクの位置だよね。あのアスクの位置どかせないと結構きついと思うけどな。いや、言うてヘイズ入るしかないよな。うん。ちょっと何狙ってたかわかんないね、フリア。最初の陽動のところでカワンハイブ打ったんだけど、あれでネイドが落ちたのが多分かなり効いた気がする。
They did enough to be able to not only delay FURIA, but also get that big pick that we saw on the North Windows to make life a lot easier for them. Shout out to Ask for that.
今のはだいぶ不安になるラウンドだね。ちょっと何がやりたかったのかよくわかんない。ガジェット負けしてた気するけどな。火花でアーマーパネルも壊しに行かなかったし。ロビー来てないの分かったらもうスクエアだもんな。あんだけラペリングしてたらスクエアラペリングっていうの分かるよな。ヨーム守ればまあ守れるっしょなるよな。
And now, BlackDragons will bring us into the mid floor. This is where things are going to get a little different, Carter, especially because we do not have Mira.
まだ BD が覚醒したかどうかわかりません。まあまだ2ラウンド目だから。明らかに差があるようなアプローチを見せたところで、ゲームが傾くんじゃない？まあでもこのマップはマジでフリア得意だと思うけどな。
It is a lot more of just a utility denial and trap setup from BlackDragons. I think you're rightfully anticipating as they're moving down to the second floor. They have to cover.
うわ、当たってきた。
Then they had to on the second floor. You get the F9.
しかも戦術核のカピター落としたね。
You have to do more work to create a gap. Also, just peeking stock door as somebody goes up onto the roof early. Good way to get ahead of the attack setup, and you take down the only real execute operator that FURIA have, the Capital. No smokes, no fire.
Yeah, hey, you got to set a precedent, right? And that's what Ask is doing right here. This is twice now. And it's been on to Nade twice as well, that he's gone punished on some of these windows where he's just being more lackadaisical. That's exactly that in that moment as well for Stock. Just not really applying himself to the map in a manner that's conducive to success when it comes to clearing out a lot of these more aggressive angles.
お、これをやれたら話変わるぞ。
I mean, this is something that is, something that can definitely happen to FURIA a decent bit. They're a roster that is so used to being able to put their foot on the neck of their opponent, right? And just to have, somebody eventually fight
1分30秒だもんな。
catches them off guard every once in a while. And this is just one of those moments right here. We're not expecting Ask to be there, but fortunately enough, with a nice read onto the player up top inside of Stock, Ask will go down as well in turn. So both of these players will be on the bench for the remainder of round 3.
Herds, unfortunately, joining that lineup on the sidelines. Brava gone down. Not sure how much utility he was able to get out of those clutch drones, and there is no shortage of things you would have liked to hack as Brava. EDDs, F-Nots, prox alarms as well, a bulletproof. Neither of the latter two did I mention. There is a lot of electronic utility, so we're really hoping, or FURIA really hoping, that Herds was able to get good value out of those clutch drones before he died. 2 rounds in a row now, FURIA are really struggling to make timely progress. But specifically this time,
だいぶきついねこれ。
progress uncontested by BlackDragons, who have consistently maintained the man advantage.
うわ、ぬるっと入った。
KZ on Herds' mainstay IQ will try and replicate
いいフラグ。
success. Nade banked off the corner. Will
なんでガス汚いの。
with the Zoto stop.
おお、取るんかい。
KZ, never mind. He doesn't care once the ice thaws. The man's on
ディフ
fire.
ュー中に持ってるな。いや、ヘイズ持って入っていったんだ。 アーマーパネルあるんじゃない？ん？なんか印象だったぞ、フェルフォックス。駆け引き。うわー、ヘイズ持ってくんだ。このラウンド取るの？今乗り越えて頭見えたと思ったけどな。いいアプローチだったけどな。
Look at how deep in the grave BlackDragons tries to push FURIA inside of this opener, folks. They not only get one, they get two big kills to open up this round. We're down into a sub-minute situation for FURIA in a 3 versus 4.
このラウンド取ったのは結構でかいぞ。ヘイズぬるっといったね。しかも俺スクエア側がディフューザー持ってると思ってたから、うわ落とされたじゃんと思ったんだけど、ヘイズ持ったままあそこで入っていったもんな。でかい。でかすぎる。やはりヘイズなのか。
FURIA is going to be able to take round 3 because of those just positive plays that we see out of this roster.
And it's something that is just, as we get into the second set of 3 sites played, the quarter, if you will. I don't often say that. I know Jesse does. We have a debate. As we get into the second quarter, FURIA are likely going to be able to have a bit more overall success, or at least even momentary success, on those middle floor and bottom floor sites, because I've said a couple times now, with the real estate you have to hold on the defense, there's just going to be more opportunities for Herds or KZ to find a spot that's not watched, as opposed to
今の一本マジでけえな。流れをつかむかもしれない一本だぞ。アスクが結構混乱させに行ったんだけどね。初手で当たるっていう。外に対してハード気味に当たるっていうので。めっちゃ4人も取れてる。あれ
？But the shotgun can kill somebody in one shot. Not much you can do.
タイピングする余裕があります。うわ！キルスピード速すぎ。
I don't think that's how that works, my friend. As he just walks into blue and gets eviscerated by an M590. Everything's getting real interesting right now, Carter.
いや結構前にハードめに当たるっていうプランなんだと思うよこれ。
Feisty and just trying to go blow for blow, constantly trying to trade things out. Hazy looking for another one in garage.
いやこれいけないよな。防弾カメラあるもん。いいて。
There it is.
Be careful.
Oh, the whole squad.
あれ？3人がかりで来た。見えちゃってる。
Stuck on the column, not even wide enough to block all the shots. He commits to the push because of the F knot, and it forces him to make.
いや今でも3人がかりでやってて分かんないだろうな。2枚しか見えてないだろうな。あ、サーバーにいるの分かってんだこれ一人。
Are those evil eyes though? If you want to go for the server plant, they will be right in your way, and same likely in all likelihood with the Vulcan packs as well.
タクティカルは残ってるんだ。ワンチャンあるぞこれ。ここで分断したらこれ 2v2 になるからね。ロビーに1人だな。さすがにか。And what a round from BlackDragons, standing toe-to-toe with FURIA right now and matching fire with fire. I especially love how they responded to that garage play there, Carter. They identified the fact that KZ is trying to work his way in, and not one, not two, but 3 BlackDragons players, and those for more of a keen eye as well. 2回どうするかだよな。BlackDragons roster that was readily available and alive, all inside of garage at once. Gotta love that.
It was like, make sure he's dead. we're not leaving anything to chance. And I do genuinely like that from BlackDragons. Say, nope, we see a kill right here. We are not.
そうだよね。やっぱハーデスがフローレス持っていかないとちょっと壊すもの多すぎたよな。うん、セルモもいいと思う。おお、ゾフィアにしたんだ。
performs quite well. Herds in round 1, KZ in round 3. But then when that doesn't happen, when they are forced to actually clear out the defense, they are dropping a lot of important pieces of utility early on. The Deimos, for example, last round, nade on the Capitao when they were attacking the mid-floor bomb site. Of course, that was a round they still won. But when BlackDragons have been able to play close together and not allow anybody from FURIA to walk down a staircase or walk into a hole in their defense, they have won that round.
またアスクさんが当たってくる。ファースト取られすぎてるからな。
I think BlackDragons have really done their homework and
めちゃくちゃ引きで見てる。
with FURIA and with any, championship level roster. A lot of people are doing a lot of research on this team, man. And the one thing that BlackDragons is very aware of is the fact that FURIA loves the lurk, Carter. They love the lurk so very much. It's usually their entire strategy on offense. We set up an area for a lot of our angle players, and then we just have one player, probably Herds, maybe KZ sometimes, doing his own thing somewhere, waiting to see if he can possibly be the hammer for the anvil that FURIA has set up. And they've gotten that to go a couple of times here, but as Carter was saying, as soon as BlackDragons is actually put an obstacle in their way and that doesn't go the way that they want to, and they usually end up losing some bodies, it really puts a damper on FURIA and what they are capable of. Now, the key thing is here is, you remember back to that open area.
まあ、JB はずっとここ管理だろうな。あ、妖怪1個壊せたね。でかいぞ。ああ、ゴン6もちゃんと持ってきてるんだ。あれ空いてるどっちよくわかんなかったな。ああ、でもアザミの位置はずらせてるね。
And, well, for FURIA, it's just another day at the office. It might be a longer day if BlackDragons keeps playing like this, but at the end of the day, it's still just another one.
で、多分フローレスであれ作ってもらってたね。結構早く行きそうだな、これ。結構ライン下がっちゃったんだよね。1階のケアができてるんだったら、これ多分タクティカルクロスボウで行くぞ。んハーデスあー、突き抜け外抜かれたんだ。いや、まあ、証券取れてないからそうなるよね。スパイダーマンアングルって言ってる。あれだいぶ微妙いぞ、フリア。2階の攻めが全然まとまってないんだけど。
Yeah, 100%. These defenses have looked very solid, especially when they're capable.
だいぶ微妙いぞ。大丈夫かこれ。この流れなんか負けても不思議じゃない流れ来てるぞ。ヘイズが繋いでくれたのに。2回後マジで下手くそすぎる。ロビーからプレッシャーもかけないしさ。ロビー上がるぞみたいなの見せないし。結局ハーデスさんかこれ。ハーデスさんの微妙さが際立つか。
We have a BlackDragons member that just swings out off of the square double and finds Herds outside. And that's actually our starting moment, our starting gun for the last minute of that round. And FURIA was never able to
こう一本取らないとフリアきつい気するな。
It was constantly BlackDragons that was just shoving them deeper into their grave. And FURIA just not really capable of being able to fight back or fend off any of the BlackDragons members in a considerable manner. So that's going to bring us into round 6, our last round of this half. Does FURIA have the capability to tie things up before we end up switching sides?
I imagine that Nook is going to be
来た、いいよな。なんかさ、何かしようとしてるんだけど、なんかオペレーターピックが微妙いようにしか見えないんだよな。
I say minimal for FURIA standards, but if we do see a situation which I think we saw yesterday, Nook getting damaged early on, can basically neutralize a lot of what that operator wants to do, which is basically execute FURIA's playstyle intrinsic within the gadget. The JV92 has got to be careful. BlackDragons have so far as the half has been on, gotten a lot better at being aware.
来たぞこれ。結構 JB にかかってるよ。
Spotted below the castle barricade. You think you are as secure can be. You are not concerned. EMP goes out though.
うまい、うまい。今のインパクト EMP はわかんない。
Both hit in by a surprise attack by the FMG9. There's one player that might still bear the brunt of it. Another one decides to join the fray. Nux moving up the marble stairs. BlackDragons are in a man disadvantage and they are not at all concerned.
でもフェリポは飛ばされてんな。突き上げっぽいな。いや、これ当たるしかないよな。いや、当たりたいけど上がれないよな。下ロックされてる。うほ、強すぎ。これはフリア。これは刺したね。ヌックドンピシャ。多分競技シーンの中で今日が一番ヌックが輝いたんじゃないかっていうぐらい輝いてた今。
That's all you need to know. That was a textbook FURIA setup through and through, all the way down to the lurk play, Carter. As we have the Nook work her way in to get past the cameras. I especially love that EMP at a JV92 just to make sure.
そう、カンチャールも多分ドローンで見てたんだと思う。でもあれは分かんないと思うよ、あのインパクトは。でも今のすごいいいなと思っちゃった。今のインパクト EMP の使い方いいなと思っちゃった俺。俺もヌックにはフラグじゃなくてインパクト EMP かもしれんと思ってきた。やりたくなるよね。わかる。めちゃくちゃわかる。ただ防衛がいけんのかいフリアさん。あ、ブラックアイ残ってるのでかいね。likely change the fortunes of the entire series. But yesterday, their attacks were definitely the weaker side, and not only because, you know, we might say, oh, they only won one, but if they only had to win one, you know, not exactly a big deal. They did have, you know, 5 defensive rounds on both sides yesterday, but when you play 6 rounds, でもなんかコンパクトに速い攻めしようとしてたじゃん、昨日の試合で。ビボ戦でブラックドラゴンズってさ。このね、銀行はマジでそれができないマップだから、それをどうするんだろうって感じだね。絶対エリア広く取ってそれでいてラインをきれいに整えないといけないというか足並み揃えないといけないって結構難しいマップなんだよねやっぱな銀行って。さんざんまだ分かんないよ。今すごいいい形で最終ラウンドフリアが終わって折り返したけど。うわこの車線エロいな。久しぶりにあんなエロい車線見たわ。うわこれどう？これどうですか？これ引いた説ある？クレリング漏れた説ある？これ漏れた説あったさすがにか。状況的にはどうだ？グリムがいなくなった。火花残ってる。ニトロはもうない。遠隔ガスしかないな。サバゼマ結構しんどいぞ。 時間的に。うわ、こっから8か、きちいな。いや、これ遠隔ガスで時間稼がれちゃうぞ。どうすんだ？え？え？アスク強すぎ！ペネロペさん、こんばんいらっしゃい。アスク一人で解決してるやん。いや、今のはピークする前に先にスモークだと思うけどな。珍しく慌てたよな、フリア。今のは遠隔ガスで一旦っていう手だったと思うけどな。アスク強すぎるな。なんか止まってるぞゲーム。いやでも今のアスクのこの判断が光るよね。だってあそこはもう時間的にさ、一回状況確認してから誰もが行くと思うじゃん。横壁壊したりとかさ、一回ドローン回したりとかさ、ハッチからなんか投げたりとか、予備動作なしで行ったもんな。だからこそ先にガスグレネードだったと俺は思う。アスク地下にいるのみんな同じこと言ってる。いやすごい部屋なのよ、アスクの部屋。完全暗室。防音もすごいかもしれないよ。テクニカルイシュー発生しそうだな。We need to make a gamble, and they do it, and it pays off with that beautiful 3K from Ask. BlackDragons are playing confidently. うん、アスクみたいな動きが絶対に必要っていうか、あそこが結構一流かそうじゃないかを分ける分岐点だと俺も思う。
Yeah, no, 100%. You know, the one thing about FURIA that I can definitely say is that they're never a team that gets scared. The biggest thing is that it just
まあでも今のは攻撃の時にヘイズが見せたように、ここはアスクは個人技見せたって感じだからな。怒られないのかな？結構喋ってるけど。一応ゲームじゃないことだったら喋っていいのかな？ダキクロさん、こんにちはいらっしゃい。ああ、ネイドの調子が悪いのかな？ネイドが今再起動したっぽいな。ちょっとテックイシューはやめてほしいな。You know, not to take anything away from these BlackDragons players either. I mean, they have some very solid, you know, talent on this team. But it just goes to show you that Ask still to this day can really pull some things off, even if it comes down to doing it himself.
Just an evil mastermind bathed in shadow on his website. That dude, that like it's not even a light bulb. That's just literally just like a. Is that even like a light, or is that just like coming out from underneath like a window shade or something?
No, he's got a light strip. He's got a light strip for sure, because you can see how it's like folded at the back of like that like arcade machine or whatever the hell that is.
I don't think that's an arcade machine.
Listen,
it's probably like a bookshelf.
長そうやな。
No, it looks like something. It looks like a pseudo arcade.
フリア微妙っすね今のところ。悪くはないけど、なんか突き放すような力強さはない。
What if he's a baller, unlike us, all right?
Why is FURIA looking at the camera like that? He's staring at it and smiling. BlackDragons are feeling
Banco.
appreciate that. BlackDragons are starting to feel confident.
なんかついてると思ったら防衛と攻撃のマークついた。
FURIA clearly starting to get a little rattled, but only a little bit. It seems a bit reserved on the webcams. I do believe we had a couple.
そうや、もう時間過ぎちゃったけど、みんなプライムセールはちゃんと買ったかね。
To re-enter, hopefully. Maybe they really are running scared. They're like, Ask is feeling confident. Nothing we can do. Igor, can we forfeit, please? Ask shot me from smoke in hand. What can I do?
Yeah, exactly. It's a terrifying moment there, but tantalizing for BlackDragons, most definitely, especially the prospect of potentially taking bank here too. Here's the bracket, folks, and how we exactly reached this grand final in Brazil. A pretty interesting prospect for BlackDragons, especially as they take not only 2 maps off of E1 in a very convincing way, but immediately turn that around and do it against Vivo Keydstars as well. To come here and play FURIA. Now, you and I were a part of the FURIA Elevate Academy game, and we saw a lot of confident play out of Elevate Academy. Sometimes a little
ファーへフリークリップを買いました。何それ？
as well, Carter. How did you feel about that series?
I really thought
買う理由が安いだけならやめとけって言ってわかる。オープンイヤーのイヤホンがてー。俺はね、食料品とか買ったよ。俺、レトルトのカレー結構買うからさ、ここで安いからまとめ買いしとこうと思って。あと、足元が寒いからさ、足元の温風機買った。
Between that Elevate Academy and Furia game, one piece being, we have 2 of the same maps.
ゲームするときマジで足元だけは寒いんだよな。
Guaranteed in this one, and Skyscraper was the decider in that series, and it's the decider in this one.
長引きそうやな。
今
日めちゃくちゃ寒くてびっくりしたわ。
Scary Furia were on Skyscraper. That 7-1 was unbelievably dominant, on par with the maps we saw them play against Fluxo yesterday. So even if BlackDragons are able to win Bank, I think winning Nighthaven is a necessity, because if we do see Furia start getting comfortable, getting warmed up, it does make me scared a little bit that that same decider is going to happen between the 2 series where Furia did need to warm up.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's really the thing about this series that we really need to build up, right? The fact that Furia is one of these rosters that when they are comfortable, they're one of the most dominant squads in the entire world. The fact that BlackDragons is already starting to create a rub inside of this first map bodes extremely well for them, and we hope that it continues on, because at the end of the day, folks, we're here for the entertainment. We want to see things go to max capacity.
戻ってきました。
And that's what we
さあ、どう立て直すか。まあでも最後のやっぱアスクの差し込みをどう警戒するかだからな。そろそろアジャストしないときついよな。
But we'll just have to see. You know, there's always some weird things that can end up happening, including Nade's computer just dying and us having to rehost things again.
That was good. That was good timing for you.
I'm known for that. You know.
You just called it. Literally, you like hexed them. Are you a witch? You a warlock?
I'm a hex girl. That's what I am.
Is a hex girl a witch, or is that a different thing?
It's whatever you want it to be, man.
Do you use hex tech?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Hex Girl was the band from or the Hex Girls rather was a band from the older Scooby-Doo movies when you were like 1.
Like the live action ones?
No, not the live action ones. It was one of the animated ones from the 90s.
I was gonna say, 'cause I've seen Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. I watched that quite a few times with my grandmother.
Okay.
With, it's like a slime monster, and Freddie Prinze Jr. is Fred.
ダメかこれ。
Matthew Willard? Matthew something Illard is Shaggy. Horrible movie. Loved it as a kid though.
冬は PS5 が暖房になる。これ上の方に置いちゃってるんだよな、PS5。
There you go.
You could have done Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Brew for a rhyme, and then they said, "Oh no, we got to do Ghost." Like, come on.
They could have done Witch's Brew as well.
Like, what are we doing? This is Scooby-Doo. We cannot just be throwing like. I'm not gonna curse over Scooby-Doo. I can't burn a curse word over Scooby-Doo. Not on a broadcast. This is important.
Oh man.
You can't just give half effort to a Scooby-Doo title. I can't believe 3 people DC'd the moment we got into the game. Can we just talk about that? Like, guys, it's gotta be the last time. I'm laying down the law. Gotta be the last time. This is the final. Furia might get knocked out. If this is going to be an 8 tech pause kind of day, you're going to have a lot of problems with me.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of problems with me.
Yeah. The
いけるのか?
format is going to take a turn for the worst, guys, and I don't know if I'm capable of stopping him.
The Hex Girls.
The Hex Girls and the Witch's Brew.
We talk about witchcraft, astrology, and I don't know, like I don't know.
Tarot cards. I don't know.
The history of the Chinese mixed market economy. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, we're also financial relief. That's what
Yes,
that's what we are on top of all of that.
We talk a lot about import-export markets. Talk a lot about trade deficits. Don't get Sam started on the trade deficits. He gets real mad. Importing more than we're exporting to a specific country. God forbid.
トラブルっぽいけどな。判定抗議じゃないっぽいけどな。
Tariffs everywhere.
Yeah, literally.
その間にリバプールとチェルシーが面白いことになってる。
All over the place.
If I'm Black Dragons, I'm tariffing Furia, dude. It's
That's
done.
true.
Every
That's
single
true.
round.
Actually, all that money on the table right there, that's Black Dragon's tariff on Furia. It's all the money they made.
Exactly.
Every single
exactly. And you know why the rounds are going this way. Fury just doesn't have the cash.
No,
You're gonna have to hit up Neymar.
キャスターこれ大変だな。
Get back on a better team, Neymar. Yeah, Neymar Jr. Yes, sir.
ちゃんとブラジルから情報入ってるのかな。
Yeah. He's a huge proponent of esports. Actually, this guy is a massive lover of. Yeah, massive lover of Counter-Strike. Plays it to the point where, like, this was like last month or 2 months ago, but he was literally tweeting directly at Counter-Strike.
あれトーナメントになったぞ。
On Counter-Strike, and it was just absolutely hilarious. But anyways,
Not the game.
yes,
Not the game, but we do have the bracket for you to look at again.
yeah. Here's the bracket, folks.
Here's a secret for you guys. When we throw up the bracket, it's not going well.
お、戻っ
Just
た。
kidding. I baited you with that. I knew we were going back to the game.
日本はすぐにインターバル入ってくれるからね。
It was genuinely a bait on my part, not to brag, but
not to brag or anything.
not to brag. All right. So here's what I think we should do. Okay. I'm gonna talk for 30 seconds. You do as many pushes.
アスクを止めれるかどうかだな。
I like that.
And then you do the same to me next round.
Okay.
ああ、リホストしたね。
Yeah.
Break.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
ネイト昨日良かったけどね。
Open area defense, as we can see from Furia. We have, of course, Capcan in the lineup. In the Legion, in all likelihood, to look out for any blitz play from Nux. I would assume that Furia are probably aware at some point that Black Dragons are going to be pulling out a deployable shield, but as we get into the attack repick, they are looking like they're moving away from it, probably because they see the blitz. Now we're likely just going to run into the same stuff we kind of normally see on an open area defense. Of course, we got the Azami, we've got the smokes and all the utility. Should be 30 seconds wrapping now. How many you do?
26.
26? All right.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to do it this round because we saw blitz, but I think we can do it this round. So now you break down whatever you want, and I'm going to start at 240, okay?
Okay, well,
アスクの当たり方修正しようがないからなんなの。気をつけようぐらいしかなさそうだもんな。強いて言えばちょっと早めに情報を取れるようにしとくとか。
trap operators for the defense here, and I'm assuming it's going to be a basement offense, just given the circumstances of this Black Dragons player standing over here on the entrance to garage, because otherwise, what the hell are we doing?
いや、リホストして KD 残すの相当無理だと思うよ。
It's still acceptable, folks, at the end of the day. Black Dragons are going to be bringing
リホスト減らすしかないと思う。他のゲームも絶対リホストしたら別の部屋建ててるわけだから KD は絶対残んないからね。
Some of these more extended players, and speaking of extension, it's been about 30 seconds. How are you feeling over there, buddy?
Oh, got to 30.
Very well done. Very well done.
Now I'm back into it. Now I'm hot in this sweater. That was a really bad idea now that I think about it for me.
Yeah,
EDD 壊されたのちょっと嫌だね。これ多分リージョンと EDD でアスクみたいな変な入り方してくるやつ管理しようって感じだと思うんだよな。逆になんで IQ 入れたんだ。バルキリー対策か。
That's crazy you pulled that off. I could most definitely not do that.
But given that it's mid-floor, we are going to see a lot of focus on this top floor roam, and I believe the first kill actually happens downstairs inside of the site. Nux is able to find the smoke, but Daisy trades back quite quickly on the Hornet. And ask...
ほら、すげえ変な入り方してるね。これ結構ね、ハーデスにかかってる気がする。ハイドしてる。ここ。お、止めた。ネイルどっからの車線です
Yeah, definitely your bad, because unfortunate for Filipox. He's going to end up getting gunned down and actually equalizing this man advantage. He thought it was as simple as getting that pick and backing off.
うわ、じわじわ攻め。
It is a massive, massive deal inside of this fact that they've been able to constantly poke and prod at FURIA, making life just very complicated for them. That big
ただヘイズとハーデスだからね、残ってる
another
の
one。coming through over here on top square.
すげえ天窓狙ってる。
It's so weird. Like, it feels like everybody from BlackDragons who's entered the map has died, and yet they still have a 3v2.
現地誰もいないんだよな。
From FURIA. Man advantage.
わ、熱いその立ち回りは。
Clearly aware that somebody might be trying to go through tellers.
現地が間に合わんかった。
But he's a bit late on the rotate. Gudo is able to find KZ, and they know exactly where Hertz is now. Popping shots through the beepers. One player
もう一人来た。あれ
Gudo 3K for him in that round. One of the biggest players for BlackDragons this LCQ. After our lengthy tech pause, we'll just widen BlackDragons' lead.
Yeah, most definitely will. And I know there's probably a couple of you guys that's like, what the heck is happening for FURIA right now? Why is BlackDragons capable of just pulling this across the line? I thought FURIA was just world beaters. This is one of those rosters that's so
ここ取れないと結構やばいぞ。
You can fight any of them. It's like a pantheon of gods or something.
動き読みされてるね。
Well, the key thing here for BlackDragons is they've got two really good things going for themselves. Number one, they've got Ask at the helm, coordinating all of these strategies for them and just making it to where they have the capacity to play up against this team, at least strategically. But what they're being able or
まあグループステージの戦い方違うからな。読みづらいだろう
has
な。
been a very positive thing, and that's been the fact that they've been just constantly beating FURIA over the head with the first pick. They have been able to find this time and time again off of solid patience or some moments of just being able to spearhead in and get these big frags. This last round, a lot more patience than it was the spearhead, just simply because of, I mean, Carter pointed it out. Every single BlackDragons player that entered the map ended up dying, but all the people patiently holding angles and waiting to see what the response was going to be from FURIA ended up finding a lot of positivity for their team. And BlackDragons were able to work off of that quite handily.
いや、先にタイムアウト切らされたのだいぶ嫌だろうな。
They eventually convert that over to a pretty nice site execute. They end up catching off the last FURIA member inside of the site because the key thing about FURIA strategies is it's a very well orchestrated setup, but a lot of the times when things start to devolve for them, people end up on two completely different stratospheres, just given the circumstances of the strategy.
なんかいまいち気合入ってないんだよな。
The exact thing that we see. We have that player that's dedicated to the site. We have a player that's dedicated to more of a roam-centric strategy for themselves, and they're just not able to make it back to where these, two planets can kind of orbit within the same galaxy. So kind of unfortunate there for FURIA, but BlackDragons, that's the key thing that they've been able to find. Those big moments to force
Ask Deimos. だいぶ嫌だねこれ。
be as coordinated as we would expect.
さらに動いてくるのか。
I think it's must-win round for BlackDragons. I'll be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I think.
まあ時間は結構かけてるからな。実際問題。
Yeah. The reason being is because FURIA post timeout, they're usually
相当メイン界のロックしてたもんな。ジュニアさんこんばんいらっしゃい。まあ全然あり得る構成だけど。
If I'm BlackDragons in this round, Carter, I'm pulling out the kitchen sink, brother, and I'm chucking it their way.
I think you make a good argument. I think if BlackDragons do, in fact, win the round here, I think the map might just be over. If they're able to crush that momentum, win 3 attacks in a row, not on 3 different bomb sites, but able to win basement twice to rip that away from the defense, which, to be fair, FURIA were able to do, but only able to do once on their attacking side. Momentum will certainly be in BlackDragons' way going into their own pick of Nighthaven after this.
ゴヨいないんだよな。ゴヨじゃなくてオリックスでなんとかするって算なんでしょこれ。同じこと言ってる。ノーゴヨって言ってる。いや銀行取られたら結構フリアやられると思うよ。ナイトヘイブンなんか持ってきてる気するもんな。 ただこの内容で取れたとしてもサードマップいきそう。 すげえ今待ち方してたな。これ川現地か。いやもうこれ時間の問題やで。いやまあこれはしょうがないよね。行くのかネイドこれは。行くのかネイド。ネイドもう早めに動かないとこれきついぞ。ガスグレネードクソ残ってんだよね。ガレージも見れてる。これ行くんじゃないネイドが。わ、JB よくガレージ止めたそれ。なんか、うわーこれバンシーがきつい。うわすげえきっちり入ってる。いけないいけない。これ無理。プラントいけないぞ。うん、これはさっきとは違ってガスで止めに行ったね。
So difficult for BlackDragons. They get the pressure, they get the pick, but they don't get the play, Carter. And there's a really big reason for that. It's very low time here from BlackDragons. FURIA have a solid recognition at the fact that this is going to be a pretty low time execute, especially the fact that KZ kind of forced BlackDragons to deal with him in server for quite some time there. FURIA adjust their lineup. They adjust that player over into Garage as well, just to make sure there's no late game finagling from BlackDragons, as that actually ended up coming through. And FURIA was able to nix that player over on that end. But for BlackDragons, the big stark contrast that we saw in comparison to their last basement offense was the fact that they didn't really have the capacity to just fly into the site and get those big entries like what we saw from Ask. And that's the big play there. The fact that Ask did not have a chance.
いや、ガスはあれぐらいないと止まんないで。
Really try and break the back of FURIA inside the bomb site. That was a huge difference maker there. No bunker buster, no dice for BlackDragons. And FURIA, I mean, credit to them, Carter. They did the proper things. They brought the proper utility to make that a non-starter. You've got the smokes in play. You've got those ice grenades as well. And then on top of that, you have the Banshees too, which are just such a nuisance when it comes to trying to entry onto that site.
FURIA went around. They really needed first win for them on the defense so far. BlackDragons were able to take 2 in a row. Course, one that Ask play that got them the basement round, but then a bit to be fair, slower of a round and kind of weird round for BlackDragons, but one they were still able to win just by getting and winning these 1v1s more consistently than FURIA throughout round 8. And now we try CEO for the first time for both of these teams. Valkyrie
結構雑なぎしてたな、そのブラックアイ。
pick up from BlackDragons. Still need to be careful that nobody rotates up square later on, but it will at least allow them to know that, hey,
結構2回勝負やな、これ。
defender that tries to flank us isn't working off that much intel if we're able to take it down. The BlackDragons, or sorry, FURIA, excuse me, are not trying to overcomplicate things. They're all playing around CEO, but
Herds.
That is a
Open
hell
your
of a
eyes, Herds.
he's too focused. He's he's got there we go, spots it.
Oh, still a little worrisome. Do they really want to try for the swing on the stock? We could see this. I'll break this open with a Selma. I think Herds had
結構これ証券勝負だな。
Yeah, I'm trying to exactly figure out exactly what they did.
かなりリソースも集まってるけど、あと2枚どこだ？ブラックドラゴンズの2枚の差し役が重要だぞ。
Yeah, right. But either way, that's going to be half the round here. FURIA obviously very happy with how that last round went, and they're trying to go for something very similar, Carter. It's a lot of utility to try and force BlackDragons into
わ、すげえ変な位置入った。
and hopefully, fingers crossed, FURIA capable of keeping their man account alive. That's the key thing here. You don't want to give BlackDragons any advantage at all.
ちょっと時間かかってるね。
5-on-5 execute where you know that you more than likely
それぞれがポジション守ればいいよっていう感じになってると思うんだよ、フリアは。下手に動くと外からのロックにさらされるからな。結構動き待ちのロック主体だもんな。これハーデスは何が見えてるの？初見にヘイトが集まってるがここだね。勝負ここだね。まだ行かない。天窓逆らっぺ。 ここでロジックボム残ってんだ。うわ、絶望。うまいね、最後の合わせが。
This is a great spot for BlackDragons, man. And, you know, credit to FURIA. They did everything that the strategy was asking of them. The only thing that did not go their way was the picks. They're able to at least get the 4 versus 4, but after that, it was the BlackDragons show. All of those angles that were built upon inside of lobby, window, as well as some things that we see over in the stock side, all go the way of the orange. And BlackDragons are more than happy with that, especially after they scoop out the entire site. And even in the dying moments of that, Carter, when it gets down to the 2v,
だいぶ苦しいね。解決策見出せてるようには見えないもんな。もっと前目で当たらないと無理なんじゃねえか。
inside of the site, and then we have fully popped all the way downstairs in square. Those 2 planets that we talked about, just not really able to get inside of the same orbit, not really capable of working together. And it's just simply based off of how FURIA is trying to respond in that moment. Just don't really have the opportunity in front of them to respond.
多分5人残してセットされるの相当きついと思うけどな。でも結局最後終盤だからこそ当たろうとしてギリギリまで待たれてやられちゃってるもんな。マジでギリギリのギリギリまで動き待ちしてる気がする。
Round 3, that if KZ had not won that 1v1, BlackDragons would have just won 7-3 with that round. In all honesty, I think KZ probably should have lost that fight with the time that it seemed that that castle had in taking the fight with KZ, but it's the world we live in. 6-4 still on match point. BlackDragons have done a hell of a job getting these opening picks on attack and defense, but 3 rounds in a row now they've been able to find it. Herds might be, I believe, 1-4 right now. And while I think one particular round on basement was definitely Herd specific,
バレてる。
a lot of it has just been BlackDragons as a whole just being really good at winning important fights against FURIA.
あれ地下か？
Even when
どっち
the
だ？
attack or the defense overall is struggling. BlackDragons, as the game has gone on, just seem to have that clutch gene.
すごいとこで待ってんな、フェリポ。これラペリング狙いに行こうとしてる？いや、ここ我慢だね。マジで我慢だね。ああ、フォーカスされた。完全に読み勝ちしてるじゃん。Sitting in front of the default camera to lure Velopox into a false sense of security. They got a 5v3 because of it.
The bait, the mind games from BlackDragons, it's all working out up.
いや、読み勝ちしてるもんな。いや、これもう動きたいけど動けない状況だぞ。
So hopefully there's something that they'll be capable of. If not, BlackDragons are taking bank pretty handedly.
いやー、下がるしかないよな、これ。いや、これ、JB 下がれないか。いや、もうロジックボム入った時点で今下がるしかなかったよな。いや。いやもうこれその一本釣りしかないです多分。Goes prone beneath the desk. This will leave Herds by himself for the time being with my shield KZ from drones. The hatch opening up above him. Surely they do not check this. Surely with 20 seconds left using Selmas to open that hatch. They do not check this. Herds needs. いやなんとか抑えてくれた。Herds needs to win. That's diffuser. That's diffuser. Drop. あ、ディフューザーハーデス側？うわ強っ。うわー。ヘイズいったかと思ったけど。
BlackDragons steal bank nonetheless.
Oh my. Oh my. You know, I thought for a split second
結果出しとこう。いや、これ多分決まったぞ。BD だと思うな、俺。 さあ来た。いやまあモンタバンだよな。サチコバン。
Best of 3, 2-1 in their first game of the LCQ, able to do it against a stronger, hotter, and fiercer opponent in BlackDragons today. Sam, this is BD's pick, and that, of course, is something that I imagine, even with the smiles, is on Furia's mind.
Carter, there's a lot of things that are going into this series right now. A lot of different ways.
アザミバン結構踏み込んだね。攻撃で決めきる気かこれ。
With being able to close out this best of 3 and heading to Montreal. That's going to take a little bit of heavy lifting as it will require them to take these last 2 maps. But on the other side of the coin, folks, everybody in chat right now, do you like being a part of history? Do you like being there in the moment when big things happen? Well, I hope you do, because if BlackDragons take this away from FURIA, if they take Night Haven Labs, not only does that punch their ticket to the Montreal Major, but that also means that they steal away the light from FURIA. They steal away that spotlight in a very convincing way. In a way that I don't think a lot of us were prepared for.
いや、フリア入り方大事だぞ。
People coming into this today, including myself, I'll be honest, thought of this as a foregone conclusion. Thought of this as
笑ってるところを見る限り切り替えはできてるっぽいけどな。わあ、でも阻害これどうすんだ？ミュートだけ？ミュートドローンコーに置くよな、多分。
And some potential for them to not only take this series, but take it in a 2-0 fashion. FURIA have a lot to do. There's a lot to be said here on Night Haven Labs, and it's all going to start with this top floor defense.
The game's not even started, and our producer's already coping. He has put W7M's comeback against FaZe on Night Haven in the production chat.
フリアって他チームのポイントによってインビいけない可能性ある。なんかさっき他の人に見てもらったらほぼ角でいけるらしいよ。
BlackDragons are in a very, very comfortable position right now on their pick. 1-0 in the series, and as you said, I think the idea of knocking off the world champs, that is something they find very, very appealing. Operator lineup for BlackDragons. Operator bands actually to talk about. We see the Monty band from FURIA and the Thatcher band.
ああ、さっきのマーベリックで開けるの待ったのか。
A little bit difficult for them. FURIA running no real breach denial aside from the Ute Jammers this time. So the Exothermic, the Selmas should find pretty comfortable purchase onto these.
結構割れてどうぞなんだよな。
Inside of IT, I believe, waiting to see if any Zoto canisters go out. Also just able to shock anything actually inside of these breaches.
おー、ボルコン合わせた。
Really, this is all set up
でかい。
those Yings, those Grims into the site.
めちゃくちゃショックドローン仕事したな今。あ、ごめんごめん。かけてなかったか。はいどうぞ。今から5分です。いやこれでも割れてどうぞ構成だからどうやって粘るんだ。結構ブリッツいってもきつい構成だけどな。いやだいぶきついぞ。どうやって耐えるんだこれ。いやこれ当たるしかないんだよな。結論。
Still have so much of their utility. Tried to use one Candela to bait out some rotations from FURIA, who did not really bite, or if they did, were able to get away without suffering a single bit of damage. So still a 5v5, everyone at full HP. BlackDragons are lacking a little bit of a second dimension right now.
いやまた動き待ちだ。差し来た。ここだね。
He'll push in behind the cracked mirror window, 2 people to his left, but he will hold passive, wait to see if anybody rotates across.
いやさすがに。ノーダメ。うわエリア取り返した。いや反対側が間に合わなかったね。いやこれがねブラックドラゴンズの弱点なんだよね。時間使いすぎるから最後の一角が崩れた時のリップランがマジでうまくいかないんだよね。ん？フリアいい入り方じゃないこれ。 未来人です。フリアが勝ちます。
BlackDragons get just thrown immediately into the flames in round 1. FURIA
フリアより意味ポイントが下でかつメジャー確定のチームが11チームいるので、そのうち8チームがバカ勝ちしない限り、フリアはインビいけます。なるほどね。
Not really too much to be said. It was FURIA time and time again getting the big
未来人でも300年前から来てるかもしれないから怪しいのよ。今のラウンドでもすげえいい取り方したな。今の結構ブラックドラゴンズのさっき銀行で見せた最後30秒のうまい詰めに対しての解決策としては100点満点ぐらいの勢いで守ったぞ。あんなに壁も壊されてたのに。
say upbeat spirits we saw on Furious face cams going into the game. Even just a win is a good bit of reassurance that it's still going to be a competitive game or still could be a competitive game, but a flawless, even better. Never going to complain about not dropping a single body on your first win on your opponent's pick. Basement defense now after Furia win the second floor. Castle in play will show that there will be a pretty solid extension on the middle floor. Castle barricades thrown around and Furia in all likelihood trying to defend the cargo supply or security position on the middle floor, but
345ポイントか。結構確定だね。
From BlackDragons is going to continue to try and stick to their guns, stick to their strategy. A little bit of an adjustment. I mean, after I said that, you have the Blitz come in. That's something that could bode extremely well for them. Really like this adjustment here, especially when it comes to this downstairs.
結構下がると思うんだよな。
Be a little bit more aggressive with, get in the face of Furia and not run as many risks as you normally would.
エレベートの選手をタンパリングって何？
BlackDragons will definitely be happy about that. Furia though aren't going to have their extension as we would normally see.
お、ここで速い攻め見せるか。来たぞ。
Circumstances. Blitz is going to be the first one in.
速い攻め来たぞ。一気に来たぞ。これ分かってないな。
This blitz, he did have the bomb there for just a split second, but it's actually going to be the Florio instead to put this case down.
あ、上は止めたんだ。これでもハッチ開いてんの？どっちだ？
He doesn't need to kill anyone. Nux just needs to be annoying. That's all you need, and he needs to stay alive. But he turns up on nade and brings it down to a 4 versus 4 in the post plants.
よくやられなかったんですよ。
JB in such a difficult spot. You'll duck for cover, but Nux on a reign of terror. This blitz has been hit or miss.
Nux がって言ってんの。
And a lot of teams in Brazil, but Nux is popping off. Double kill so far. Looking for 3 as 2 defenders start swarming around the diffuser. Bird's able to take him down, but so much time has been.
これアーマーパネルあるんじゃない？
They all line up for Hornet. Double kill for Black.
さすがに無理か。
Close on the shotgun doesn't matter. Gudo from behind will tie the game early on.
And that's a clean strategy from BlackDragons, man. They recognize the space. They recognize the.
事前交渉ってことなの？タンパリングって。へえ、エレベートの選手？エレベートの選手って東南アジアの？
They take it and they win a big round because of it. Remember, they just came off of a
なんでエレベートの選手なんだろう？
They didn't get a single kill. They didn't really get a single thing that they wanted inside of that first round.
完璧にウルブズ崩壊してんじゃん。内部事情。ね。
To push themselves into round 2 in that convincing way. Very well done to them. They're going to stick the blitz around just for now. Could still have some adjustments coming in. We already have the adjustment off of the striker onto thermites. But hey, I think it's going to be a war in between these two here on Nighthaven.
Especially if BlackDragons can peak with that blitz usage right at the right time. It's been.
Yeah, I don't know about blitz. I think they're all the way in OC.
Yeah. But if they can really get this blitz usage down at the right time, because and it's kind of ironic. We saw.
多分 COD モバイル部門がそこらしい。なんだよ CG 部門じゃねえのかよ。それもどっかわかんないってこと。
And then nobody aside from Liquid has really been able to get that same stride and play the shield well. Even BlackDragons, when they tried to play it yesterday, a lot of the rounds they played it, they still lost. Now, to be fair, it was on consulate, which can be a bit difficult, but now they've run it once. They've won the round. They brought it in. Moving to the middle floor now, there are a lot of options you could go for here. You could send him into the cargo window, Sam. You know what we often see, that single window. You open IT up above, and he tries to create space there, or they could try to clear out the roam with it. Either way.
Either way, more than likely going to be something that the positive tone for BlackDragons and something they will want to continue on singing. This top floor setup definitely going to be something they want to try and deal with. A lot more verticality and positive positions built up for FURIA when it comes to this top floor right now. And start comparison to what we saw in that last round, I think FURIA really thought that BlackDragons was going to try and deal with them on that roam, and they really did not have the capacity to try and stop a plant in the way that we saw BlackDragons going for things, and caught FURIA completely off guard. But now, more than likely prepared for something of the sort, especially when it comes to this mid-floor bomb site. BlackDragons not feeling as though this is going to be something that's too risky, and okay, swap there for Gudo, but that's not really the main story right now. The main story is going to be asked here on Catwalk, as he'll break up that mirror window and start trying to open up barrels for our blitz.
Oh,
Eh?
Nade completely
No way.
caught off guard.
Nade,
Shot in the back.
Eh?
of the head. Mira beat to death against the
ネイド何も分かってなかったね、今。
Blitz got to recover.
どういうこと？
Angle still strong. That's the problem. You're attacking this bomb
あ、
site.
プラント止めようとしてたの
With
か。
the vertical angles. I just realized the diffuser's down. What? In the dead of night, in the cover of the Blitz, BlackDragons move us into a post, and FURIA, who think they've recovered, and now got to find a way to march down to that middle floor while the Grim's outside a garage, one player far outside of IT. And Bellapox, one bullet away from death. KZ will creep close. The nade banked, lands right at his feet, forces him off for the briefest.
いや、きつすぎる。窓外がきつすぎる。
Cover this diffuser as Bellapox tries to go for the retake. He baits it. He falls soon after. Nothing that JV92 can do.
いや、やっぱ BD 持ってきてるね。セットちゃんと持ってきてるわ。さっきのさ、ネイドのところもう一回見たいんだけど、あれ、音気づかない？ガチで。思いっきり突っ込んできてたじゃん、バリケード壊して。
This blitz practically appears out of the ether inside of barrels. I'll be so honest with you. I don't know what the hell Nade was looking at. He just gets caught completely off guard by blitz on his rear flank, and he just gets.
これブリッツ対策取らないと多分負けるぞ。
I mean, the guy turned around and there was just a German pistol in his jaw. Like, that was just ridiculous. And then he bullies the hell out of her.
マジでネイドのパフォーマンスやべえんだよな。昨日復活したかに見えたんだけど。
It's like in the Matrix when Trinity goes up to the back of Agent Smith. It's just like, dodge this.
You filthy casual. Dodge this.
BlackDragons, a very, very strong set of rounds to respond to FURIA's flawless beginning.
No, Nux, don't go away from it. It's been so good. It's been so good.
I mean, the ironic thing is we've got no goo mines, we've got no banshees. This actually would have been a pretty good setup to go for that blitz. I mean, there is, of course, you need to respect the hard breach denial, need to respect the Vulcan packs. When it comes to utility that BlackDragons have, there's not a lot to necessarily directly deal with that, but I'm of a similar mind to you.
今回はバンディ入れて壁駆け引き。
Listen, man. I'm one of those guys is just like, all right, we're gonna keep running this until either we've won the game or it stops working. Like you're gonna prove to me, Carter, that you can stop it from happening. And like I do not care. So for BlackDragons, I respect it. I really do, because like really when it comes down to it, this is one of those things where they expect the adjustment out of FURIA. You expect a roster of this caliber.
今なんで壊せなかったんだろう。
Keeping those brain cogs turning. And expecting them to bring
いや、餅つきもできずに後手後手に回ってるぞ、これ。
But, you know, as Carter pointed out, FURIA haven't exactly done that through operator choice. They could definitely do it through different ways, especially when it comes to this top floor. There's a lot of different bottlenecks and that kind of stuff that the Blitz would have to work through. And the main thing about Blitz in comparison to Montang is that you are still at risk from a lot of different angles, especially when it comes to your shoulders. Even if you're crouched, the defenders to get some bullets around that shield and get some solid damage into you. But yet again, oh, FURIA, we have got to stop just trying to rotate around this map lackadaisically. We are not worried about BlackDragons on these angles, and it is severely punishing us. That's
いやー、これで圧倒的にきつくなったぞ。同じ守り方は通用せんね。
Speaking of patience, Asuka's creeped up into IT off of the back of that now that the garage player has fallen.
Another one?
Oh, Gudo. Trying to flirt with the player on Aqua Stairs. Meanwhile, the round is being won by the breach. Nux might fall, but Bellapox is trying to fight a 1v1.
いやー、ゲージが持たんかった。
matter at all.
Nope.
Asuka will trade him out. BlackDragons are looking an awful lot like their opponents. They have stolen their thunder. They drop the blitz.
セイントに同じ技二度通用しない。 草。
And again, all just based off of the early moments here from BlackDragons.
いや、これだいぶやばいぞ。
Folks are trying to play exactly like themselves. This is just the opposite side. This is the bad look of what can happen when you are going for a play style like this, Carter.
マジでネイドが何もできてねえもんな。
Furia just shows up and you know these moments where you're like, how did this guy even get here? How is he getting all of these kills? But the reverse side of that is what we're seeing now. BlackDragons, with this solid patience, are finding Furia going for these plays, finding them going for these rotations and trying to get in front of BlackDragons. But they're already set up on a lot of these different angles, and it is severely punishing Furia. All you're doing is shooting yourself in the foot right now when you're going for these rotations. In fact, if you really think about what we've seen so far through these,
いや、多分エイムにも自信持てないんだろうな。
round that Furia won, what was the stark contrast in comparison to what we've been seeing? They were the ones that were being patient. They were the ones
ああ、もうブリッツ止めに来たな、これ。
into actually going for an execute, actually trying to build up and get themselves into the building. All of these other rounds have been BlackDragons either finding a huge gap on that basement setup that we saw, or simply being patient and waiting to see how Furia is going to respond to them, doing simple tasks around the map, getting IT open, breaking open some windows for angles.
いや、あと2本取っても攻撃通せるかなんだよな。
when they're going for those plays to try and fend up against what BD's going for around the map.
なんか微妙いよな、見てて。なんか別にさ、負けるのはしょうがないと思うんだけどさ、面白くない試合が。フリアの押し付けるところもっと見たいよね。なんかきっかけが必要なんだろうな。あんなにね、グループステージケチョンケチョンだった BD、 ここまで立て直してくのすごいよな。
Now against Furia, one map up, they are looking so good. Adjustments from Furia on this defense. As BlackDragons stick with the blitz, Furia have brought out all the stops, Sam, when it comes to traps. We got F-Knots for the Fenrir. We got Goo Mines from the Legion. The EDDs just to make it that much more annoying.
同じこと言ってるわ。あれ？さすがにバレた。
There it is. Worrisome there on that drone, but they will end up checking JV92. They do know that he's upstairs and he's got some friends to boot.
更新決めたかこれ。
For some of these outside walls, that'll make life easier for these roamers so they don't have
これ現地攻めんじゃない？早いぞまた。また広がってる判断だこれ。あ、ディフューズ落ちた。うわ、ナイスカバー。ここのミラー強いねこれ。ああ、右側のさっきプラントされた1枚も見るミラーなんだあれ。あのブラックミラー優秀だな。まあ多分モチベはないと思う、優勝するための。グランドスラムしちゃったから、もうあれ以上上はないからさ。早い攻めここは対応できたね。もう一回2回か。ボルカン抜いたな。あー、なるほどね。バンシーとアーマーパネルか。フェンリルも入れて。で JB 隠してんだ。ただもうタイムアウト切っちゃったからね。攻撃で詰まった時にタイムアウト使えないからな。すげえ防衛で嫌なことやってきそうじゃない BD。
Yeah, I don't hate the strategy. I really don't, especially because like the cargo stairs were pretty clear there, right? It's just about how those initial skirmishes go. It just so happens that Furia won all of the skirmishes, Carter, and that will definitely complicate things.
これ IT 防げんのか？
That's exactly what we see.
いや、レンツー締めに来てたよな。あ、レンツー持ちつくんだこれ。持ちつけた。これでかいぞ。
FURIA now starting to apply some different pieces of utility in the dying moments of this half, and this might be a really big moment for them.
ああ、もう相手は割れてどうぞなんだ。絶対連絡通路割らせないんだ。ハサミを防ぐんだな。
One exothermic already might have opened the IT breach as a result, and they also know that Bandit is actively tricking.
インビ連覇したチームってないよね。
I think makes at least a smart call for the moment. We'll put both batteries down, hang around, see if anybody's actually pushing him, and if he has to back off, the attack will have to clear both of those batteries off the wall. JV92 spotting a key drone as he's holding a tight but aggressive angle on that.
後締めするんじゃない？だよね。後締めしてショックアイ置くんでしょ。これでハサミが1個減るんだよな。となると重要になってくるのは司令センター側じゃない？司令センター側に回るかどうかだね。ん？あ、びっくりした。フェリポックスの視点かと思った。あ、床張り来た。ああ、割れるんだあれ。あれハードブリーチできないんだ。初めて知った。あ、一応連覇になるのか。ペンタ G2 が。確かにそうだね。exothermic there, so unfortunate for BlackDragons. But if you thought the bottleneck was bad earlier, folks, it's even worse now. BlackDragons have got to win out in a very convincing way when it comes to the gunfights, and it needs to happen right now. 3v3 耐えた。やっぱ司令センター残ってるのがでかい。ここの位置がやられてないのがでかいね。もう車線かぶってるぞ。危ねえ。危ねえ、今車線かぶった時にダブルで抜かれてたら終わってたね。うん、多分ガジェット近かったら壊れたんだと思うけど。落ち着き予測して床に張ったんだけどね。そう、フリアが攻撃通せる未来見えないんだよね。この間も配信で言った時、その W7M 戦の攻撃の詰まり方が結構えぐくてさ、なんかまたタイマー止まってるやん。どういうこと？テック多くね？あ、大丈夫だった。
deeper into not only this map, but maybe the map going further if FURIA does end up taking this. Just kind of try and set yourself up for success in that way. What do you want to telestrate? What do you want to kind of keep in that back pocket for something later on down the line? All things rolling around the head of BlackDragons right now, on top of what they want to be setting up in this basement. And this is going to be the big call from Ask. They're going to start things downstairs, whereas we usually end up seeing people start on that top floor. But this bomb site, definitely no slouch either.
No, not at all. Though, a bit surprising that we will not have the presence of the Mira on this site. We saw that the presence of one Black Mirror was able to entirely shut down a rush from BlackDragons in round 5. Is also
防衛で奥手なのに攻撃でガンガンいけるとは考えられへんな。まあそうだね。昔は攻撃がえげつなかったんだけどな。地下スタートなんだ。仕掛けてきたね。え、ハードブリーチなし？ え？ マドロック抜かれたな。ハムさん、こんばんいらっしゃい。JB が息してないぞ。JB が今シーズンめちゃくちゃ救ってたのに。いや、それ引いたの分かんないよな。
what Ask has certainly done. They've left the top floor. A lot of them have left the middle floor too. And if they haven't, they are right around staircases where they can retreat the moment FURIA actually start applying pressure.
いやー、これ遊撃に振り回されてる。
Building that substantially. Fellapox has moved in. KZ outside the window. The defense basically almost leaves. Once again, Ask could be able to play aggressive and go.
いや、これトッケビいないからめちゃくちゃきついね。トッケビいないからクリアリングが省略できないんだよ。
Control whatever that mid-floor room is called over on the far end that attaches to barrels.
カメラ見てるやつ見つけそう。
I think he actually did just end up rotating back. They see the phone down here from their player that ended up going down earlier on and some other things too, but this is getting a little scary just because FURIA is taking a little bit of time. But hey,
エグゾスーツで目だね。
we've seen a million executes go off at sub-minute in Siege, so nothing to be too scared of just yet. But
いや、ハードブリーチなしなんだ。
down a player already and
すごいね。だって
地下直割ってないってことでしょ。
I mean, I am too. You mentioned the toxic canisters, the Vulcan packs, and
いやー、これエグゾスーツ行くのきつくね。
Just two shotguns can hold these staircases, play aggressively, or up one of the choke points that FURIA gonna have to push through.
エグゾスーツにボルカンないのかこれ。
Even if they didn't get that opening pick in just wasting FURIA's time, and there's no gap to exploit. There's no place to run up and get a big kill. Nate will be able to use the verticality and cut down Ask, but the broader sight set.
いやー、見ないといけないところ多すぎる。ああ、やっぱそうだよね。
And they just have to run through the flames the moment they dissipate. Time this perfectly. KZ needs to cover. There's nothing he can do. C4 lands at the exact
ダメそ
feet of KZ. BlackDragons easily win the round after.
I'm just so very impressed. I'm just sitting here processing.
う。いやー、トッケビいなくなったからマジでクリアリング時間がかかりすぎたな。
This is no small time game either, Carter. This is a really, really big deal. This is for, I mean, really, when you consider FURIA being inside of this, this is for the future of Brazil and what the
ヘイゼもさすがにあのニアのニトロは止められんかった。
It's been them for a very long time. They did not even really expect to be here. They expected to already be
またハードブリなしだで。 え、2回なのに。 もうハードブリ持ってるかもしんないけど。あ、そりゃそうだよ。
I mean, they look really good up against FURIA. I love what they're bringing to the table because really it's sound strategy with a mix of really solid players, man. They know when to step up.
え、これフラグ持ちいなくない？
Go for these big plays, and not only that, but they know how to exploit FURIA. That round is a perfect example right there. They have that.
これフラグ持ちいないよな。いや、展開型シールドどけられないぞ、それ。あれどうすんだろう。いや、ここの展開型シールド重すぎるぞ、これ。しかも、ここのローテッドフォールおもろいな。ダッシュで走れる。
I just think the confidence in this moment is really the positive I'm looking at the most for BlackDragons, that I'm appreciating the most because, you know, when you're led by a veteran like Ask,
持ちつく気満々やな。
it's certainly good, but this is some of the stuff we did expect from you last stage, and you're just kind of showing that again now. But being able to play confidently against FURIA, go for those picks against JV92, Herds, and KZ, that shows that they are not fearing whatsoever.
見えそうで見えない。
Herds, look at this angle above the Mav line. Mir flirted with that just for a second, but backs off, and Ask also forced to retreat. Will take a bit more time, but you pay that price for security and peace of mind. You can open up that right panel and now get to focus on other more important.
またアスクだ。
Nade dies in the quiet. Sounds like one shot.
え？なんでネイドやられたの？
Into the head of the ace. It's a small
あ、ここピークされたのか。
That's a massive moment. Nate has had so many plays for this.
いやー、マジでネイドきついね。
And even inside of map 1, he was one of those players that you could hang your hat on and say, hey, well, at least Nate.
いや、下から勝負すんのゲロきついんだよな。
Now that FURIA don't still have a few of those, you know, operators and few of those players that can still show up when the time's necessary. But Nate definitely one of those guys that you will sorely miss, especially when FURIA was not capable of getting something back across the line. And that's the big thing you you have to take these moments that you get up against FURIA like this, and you have to run with it. That's why we see BlackDragons just keep this.
いやもう指令センターがこの構成は取れないんだよね。
They don't want to try and gamble anymore because FURIA, they love the casino, don't they, Carter?
何を根拠に詰めるんだ。いやもうちょっとヘイズもキープするのしんどいぞこれ。
BlackDragons 2 times now have got a 5v4 and just backed off, giving them no opportunities whatsoever.
No way.
Bellapox down 2. Might be from a C4 from FURIA. I'm not entirely sure, but it's just
Bellapoxなんでダウンしたんだ。
FURIA have to deal with another headache provided by BlackDragons.
あ、このショットガンか。
Oh man. Can easily pick up Bellapox on that long angle. Flawless.
ダメそうですフリア。やっぱり銀行取れなかったからもう無理だね。攻撃取れる未来もない。ニトロの忍者か。
This is absolutely ridiculous. Does FURIA even have a timeout still? I can't remember if they've taken it. They've taken it already. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay. 2-round differential here for BlackDragons. They're in the driver's seat right now, folks. You have to think about the headspace whenever it comes to a moment like this.
まあここ取らなかったらもうジエンドなんてもんじゃないよな。
Carter just said it himself. They have been on a streak of not only LAN events, but being one of the most successful rosters, let alone in the world, in Brazil, that we've seen in quite some time. And now you are sitting on the edge of not making a major event, period.
なんかもうきっかけもつかめないまま負けてるもんな。
And this might be it. It might be here in October that finally the ride stops for FURIA, especially after what we've seen inside of this LCQ alone.
うわーこれ構成負けしたんじゃないか。
I mean, if you would have just talked to us,
IQ 積んでたのにやめたな。
I know exactly what we would have said. We'd be like, it is. If FURIA is playing like this, this is easy.
しかもトゥバロいるぞ。トゥバロバンディだぞ。どうすんだこれ。あ、割れたんだ。そこは駆け引きしないんだ。これどう駆け引きするんだバンディ。どこにもう置いてるな、ショックワイヤー。いやー、JB 単独行動怖えよな。グリムだし。
BlackDragons are just making all the right moves against an opponent that is struggling to read them. And to get match point, they would need to win 3 defense.
指令センターまで引いてる。
And what do you see right now? BlackDragons aren't getting aggressive.
あ、廊下見なかったな。
Right by Aqua Stairs, likely with somebody watching the window down below, ready to retreat at a moment's notice. Dokubi call might go out, but BlackDragons are not going to give FURIA even a single opportunity, not an opening in the world to capitalize off of it.
And that's exactly it, right?
おお、入ってた。
FURIA have done a very good job strategically of trying to play up against BlackDragons.
こういうのいいよな。まあでも動かざるを得ないマップだもんな、このポイントは。
Playing things out in the proper manner up against FURIA. The things that FURIA want, BlackDragons is not giving to them. FURIA
ハーデスがテルミットなんだ。
The absolute most right now just to get something minimal, something that we would expect out of
いてててて。いやこれもうヌクスがあれだぞ。ガス投げれねえぞ。いやここ潰したらもう結構ジエンドだな。いやもうこれで結構きつい。因が残ってるから止められないと思うこれ。ブラックアイだけだね、気をつけないといけないの。イントロ。わかんないぞこれ。あ、すれ違った。地下潰しに行ったなこれ。いや見させなきゃいいんだよな。いやこれ止められねえよ。おお潰された。 いやー間に合った。下からカバーしたのフェリポ。むしろ下から見てた。危ねえ。
And this is what I've been talking about, Carter. Look at how complicated BlackDragons is.
今のちょっとフリアっぽかったな。魂の気迫。
Last second of these rounds, forcing it down to its absolute limit time and time again.
あれだな、一回オペレーター適当に取るんだな。で、ポイント見て、相手のオペレーター見て考えるんだな、これ多分。
In a big enough fashion to where they're able to pull it across the line, but man, is BlackDragons forcing the work out of FURIA right now.
いやでも先に取られたもうマッチだからな。またこれハードブリーチなし構成いくの？あ、いたわ。ハーデスなんだ、エース。
FURIA able to find those important engagements, narrow the lead just by one round. It's the first time
ボス G ホーネット来たぞ。
on Nighthaven Labs. Remember, no tactical time.
いやここでフリアもう一覚醒できるかどうか。
So even if FURIA win this next one, BlackDragons can reset for the next two defenses. How will FURIA move into Nighthaven now? How will they deal with this middle floor? They really struggle to have an impact on that roam as Nux got an
さっきの BD の収納庫の合わせうまかったよね。フォーカス完璧だったよな。いや、繋いでくれたこの一本をうまく活かせるかどうか。割れた。もうこれセルマ投げ切ってハードブリーチャー卒業したハーデスが AK 強いおっさんになるってだけだ。
to try and assist with stuff, and JB92 will actually be on a clear upstairs, but it's pretty solo dolo as of right now. As FURIA will look to build themselves up around this map. You can see them trying to work for these different entry points. BlackDragons has already fallen back to the
一応フェリーボックスがハードブリーチングチャージ持ってるんだよ。2回は取れてそう。
And I think that's a good call from BlackDragons again. You have all this utility on the site, the EDDs, the Vulcan packs. Nux had all of his
1枚が空いてないだけだよな。外直。あ、引くんだ。
And the round was won.
あ、ホーネット撃たれたんだね。
At 000, second Dokubi call goes out, and I don't think there's anything FURIA going to be able to get from this, Sam, because everyone's already fallen back. You've lost such important utility, and BlackDragons have minimized it from you.
ハッチも割れそうだね。いや、まあ順手でいいと思うけどな、まずは。
And I called that there was going to be a more aggressive roam here from BlackDragons, but instead they used the Vigil in a very creative way. This ERC7 backpack, guys, what it does with a strategy like this, like Carter said, it's the same strategy, but with Vigil in here, he can make it seem like he's still roaming on these top floors. And he can make it
すげえいい見方これ。
the entire time. They can get pretty lackadaisical maybe around these stairwells, and he can commit to a re-aggression. He doesn't even honestly have to
ボルカンあるからな。45秒しかない。そっちから投げる。なるほど。
It's more than likely going to have an answer, a conclusion to round 10 here in a couple of moments.
And look at this with that Vulcan pack on the top of
8だな。1枚だな。
30 seconds left and they can't push down. Nothing they can do. They'd have to walk through the fire, burn up all of their HP, and there he goes. He pops it and leaves. Doesn't need to do anything. Vertical angles could take him down if he retreats, but close with the shotgun. I take him, but no! JB92 takes him instead. Nux caught off guard. They turn up the pace, and BlackDragons need to hold on.
いや、よくかました。
FURIA maintained their lead as they storm into the
ディフューザー拾えるか。
seconds remaining. As close, the only one left. FURIA have
なんかフリアっぽいぞ。
out of this round, and there's nothing he can do. No angle
通るか。
on the diffuser.
通んないとまずい。
has nothing. No intel going his way. Pops up.
まあ、通ったら盤石じゃない？
One player stuck behind will be softened up by that impact, softened even further by the vector. He charged him.
お互いにすごい。おらららら。フリアっぽくなってきたな。今の攻めフリアっぽいな。そろそろメジャーモードになってきたこれ。おはようフリアだねマジで。
And that's what we're seeing right now. BlackDragons, they're doing everything in their power. Everything that
いや、ここもう一回フリアも話せるのでけえな。2回でしょ？
It is not finding them any success in these big moments. Yeah, it's leading them down a path to where they can find some success. But when it comes down to it, FURIA is the one that is making things matter most inside of these key moments. And we see it yet again on full display inside of round 10. Yeah, BlackDragons, they're able to delay things out. They're able to get it down into the dying seconds of the round. But FURIA, with the big kills, the big frags, and the big placement of that case in behind the tank to make it just nothing but impossible for BlackDragons, really, in a moment like that. What a moment that would have been if Argoyo ends up winning that out for BD, but there's no real realm of reality where that's supposed to happen, especially with that verticality working its way in from FURIA, and they're able to grab one again away from BlackDragons.
いや、そうだよな。ここブリッツ入れてくるよな。そうだよな。ここブリッツだよな。これが刺さるかどうかだね。パルス？ああ、手数増やさせようって話か。でもデイモス入ったぞ。ということは1回行くってことだぞ。トッケビがいないのがどうなるかだね。まあでも2回だからしゃあないんだよな。
Will Felipox stick with that blitz, a character, an archetype that they don't often play? They tried a little bit more today.
IQ 持ってきた。あ、デーマスやめたね。あ、ガジェット貸しに行くんだ。
They gotta be careful though, Sam, because even if you go for that diffuser plant, even if you try to put it on the floor, gotta keep an eye on Ask on that pulse down below. By the same token, you've complimented them for not providing opening picks, but you don't want to see Ask off by himself because that is begging FURIA to go after him.
100%. And that's the main thing. BlackDragons have done a good job of showing a little face, but not.
これでもさ、まあフェンリルいるけど、あんまブリッツ止まんないんだよな。
To extend yourself out, boast a little bit, but make it out alive. And that's what BlackDragons have found a lot of success in. It's just been that tail end where FURIA have been able to overwhelm them and make the most out of these moments. And that's the thing about FURIA. We've touched on it time and time again, Carter, across these last couple of days. FURIA is one of those rosters that you can never count out. Because even in a
これ結構ヘイズが仕事できるかどうかにかかってるぞ。指令センターの展開型シールドが壊したらさ、うわ、よくやられなかったね、それ。地下にいるんだ、パルス。これ、来たぞ。も巡ってきたぞ。
That scared me, man. Oh my god, somebody sprinting right next to Herds. Oh, Felipox says hello to Hornet. Both him and Ask rotating.
うわ、アスクが当たりに来た。
The finisher onto Herds on the mid floor. JV92 will trade.
ホーネットは落ちた。
That Fenrir cut down by JV92. Big pickup.
うわ、引ききれんかった。やはりアスクが立ちはだかるか。いや、アスク倒したのか。今下の表情のカメラとずれてたから分かんなかった。人数優位はフリア。エイスタン。ブリッツどっから入れるかだ。あとはハーデスがまだ3つ残してるからラテロ使い切りたいね。うわ、いい位置割れた。これで挟むんじゃないか、司令と。ウオーデンの位置ちょっとずれてんだよな。3枚割るとここに追い込まれるのよ。となると司令の廊下から突っ込まれるとカバーできないんだよね。来たぞ。来たぞ。いった。
They've decided to try and build this off Aqua with a backstab from IT, but KZ doesn't work. Nade's able to get one.
うわー、取り切った。いや、これはもうロジカルじゃん。あそこの3枚割られるのがなんできついかっていうのが分かるでしょ。あそこ割られるともうその今向かって右側の机側に寄るしかないんだよ。そうすると指令センターからバチコイ車線通るからさ。そこまで多分ブリッツ隠してたんだよな。 そうなると展開型シールドとか関係なくなるんだよね、壊しなくても。ブリッツ突っ込まれると。フリア多分あれだな、次のポイントとか関係なく一旦前のラウンドで使ったオペレーターすぐに取って話し合ってんだこれ。
comes down to what could be an overtime in between these two teams if BlackDragons have the capability to reach out and grasp.
いやでもここで仕留めきれないと分かんないよまだ。今の勢いのままここで仕留めきれるかどうか。カイドがいないから比較的あれか。サッチャーいなくても壁は壊せるんだね。カイドって優秀だよな。いやでもコミュニケーションめちゃくちゃ回り始めたんじゃないかこれフリア。あれ俺らの優勝した時のコミュニケーションってこんな感じだったんじゃねえになってきたんじゃない？
It was a huge comeback up against FaZe Clan to win the SI Championship and one of the best series that I've ever seen in my entire life.
Sam, I think BlackDragons are thinking that too. I think the thought might be creeping into their heads that
ヘイズのフローレススキン使っちゃダメなやつじゃない？何着てたの？
Up 5-3, FaZe lost 6-1. They lost 7 rounds in a row to lose the whole championship. Are we FaZe? We haven't won Brazil 4 times in a row.
コミュニケーション、コーディネーション言ってたよな。いや、これ上取らないとダメだ。いや、一人で守るのはきついよな、ホーネット。IQ はなし。バルキリーどこ行ったのそれ。
BlackDragons still trying to play passive. Gudo instead ratting behind the desk. He will let the Dokkaebi call elapse. Don't know how it's been given. He'll creep up to the very hole that Herd shot. Is the ace aware? No, he's not. In the trigger discipline on Gudo.
強気
Plays it so safe and lets the ace walk by. But the second call goes out. Do they know? Can they hear?
いるの分かってそうだな。さすがに勝負に行ったけど、まあでもロジックも2回使わせて時間は使わせてるからな。アスクかまたアスクかこれ。あ、ビジュルどこ行った？あー見られた。これでアスクはちょっと行きづらくなったね。ただ時間がない、残り40秒。うわー、いやでもこれはうまい。またアスクは更新来た。でもこれで中2なんだよな。あーボールか。いや 2v2 だ。でも時間がなさすぎる。これまとめられんだろう。燃えてる燃えてる。飛んだ。オーバータイム。いやアスクだったな。やっぱアスクだったな。面白い試合になってきたね。噛み合ってるで。うわここでクラッシュか。It's to have that roam be successful. And I know what we all saw. We saw that Valkyrie die inside of console. And everyone's going, oh my goodness, this roam just isn't exactly working out in a positive way for BlackDragons. But that's a lie. That's what was necessary. They needed to try and delay. But the key thing is, Carter, they couldn't move their chips back into the basement. 結構結果的には相打ちになったの聞いてたかもしれないな。ここでもう一回ギア上げれるかどうかだよな。クラッシュ入ってるぞ。ショットガンエラー来た。どこに配置するんだショットガンエラー。でオペレーターパワーちょっと弱いんだよな。
And that's exactly what BlackDragons wanted. It was all orchestrated to play out that way. We either lose because FURIA hit some crazy shots, they hit some crazy licks, or we make the
あとミュートがなくなってんだよな。
We make some magic, and now we are in a
出た。
crazy timeline. It's overtime right here, and all the stops are getting pulled out. Is Ask gonna try
すごい読み合ってる。
trick or a mirror trick this wall right now?
来た。
Oh, Ask tries to pre-fires it. It won't destroy the exothermic, but again, the danger with a mirror window like this is if it gets popped, you can just see the feet of the people breaching. Makes it a bit more difficult to exothermic. You can upside down repel now, but maybe you can chuck out an explosive if nobody's watching. Also important to note, BlackDragons
誰かにロックしてもらうしかないな。ロック待ちだろこれ。うわ下からどかそうとしたんだ。うま。
They'll pause for the time being as they have won this early round. They can open up this breach. They have bigger things to focus on, bigger fish to fry.
いやーでもアスクがマジでいやらしいことやってくるね。時間はでも奪ったんだよな。 HP8 にはなってるけど。ハードブリッジはテルミットしかいないから。これどうすんだ。テルミットしかいないぞ。しかも特に回っていってる感じはないよな。
We're going to ask FURIA to do exactly what they usually do, which is get that nice coil around the bomb site and start to apply pressure, start to squeeze like a boa constrictor and see if they can get these big frags. That minute mark is rapidly approaching us. And now it comes down to the wire. Is FURIA going to be capable of
ブラックミラー壊せなかったね。こう上がるしかないぞ、そうなると。
Facing a bit of trouble on that garage stairs. Tries to break the barbed wire. Takes a long time to do it. Can't crack the mirror. Has to rotate around, shoot it from beneath. It will work out.
いやもうこれでも囲い込みができないんだよね。
A little bit more, 5 seconds, but in the face of that clash.
どう囲い込むの？うわ、司令センター行かせる。でもバリケ閉まってたんだよな。時間がねえぞ。クラッシュ重いぞ。うわ、インとクラッシュが相対してんだこれ。JB が突破したけどカバーした。タイミングエラショットが来た。エラショー
Pressure makes diamonds. That's what we're seeing out of BlackDragons right now as they are soaring the skies above FURIA. Impressive stuff. An insane level of patience.
いや、これ2回止めれんのか
strategy quite handedly. And the craziest thing about the resolution that we see there at the tail end of that as well is that very first pick, folks, for those that have more of a keen eye, I'm sure you saw. That clash was the first one to go down. JD92 picks.
まあブリッツに対してはクラッシュが確かに有効だからな。
Still stand the test of time. Their positioning too potent. Their guns too powerful. And FURIA not able to fend off or really fight back in any serious capacity, especially up against that shotgun of Ella. What a number call as well for that as well. We don't see a lot of Ella nowadays, folks. I mean, she's not in a bad spot either. She's not in a bad way. The Scorpion, the solid gun, that shotgun.
やっぱ2回は硬いよね。
But this map, especially on this top floor, when it comes to these close gunfights, shotguns are so conducive to success. And that's a crazy.
お、ブリッツ入れるんだ。
That semi-auto shotty in and make the most of it there. And now for FURIA, trying to take a card out of their opponent's book. JV92 will be on the clash and more than likely a hidden manner as well.
でもガジェット多くないかこれ。
They feel as though they have some semblance of success built into their
フローレスぐらいしかいないぞ。
bringing the blitz once again.
アーマーパネルとバンシーどう処理するんだ。8個あるんだけど。
She can stall that out completely, and you don't have the Ying or the Grim like we saw Furia run last time. That can maybe make something work on the opposite side. This push can get really slowed down and really be susceptible to that clash. Also with the F-Nots, you only have 4 Retera drones, but there are Banshees, Castle Barricades, Dread Mines. So much utility that BlackDragons would like to destroy, and they really don't have a lot of the options that are good for it. No nades. The Selma charges are your main form of hard breaching aside from the Maverick. You don't really want to use those on a deployable shield. BlackDragons don't really have a great lineup for what Furia are bringing, and if the Blitz gets shot
結構これ重いんだよな。
that is what you are betting on, and it might not work
アー
out.
マーパネルと
I really think that what we're going to see is
Banshee
BlackDragons
Sonic
work for this IT breach, more than likely try and get some play around connector. But the main breadth, the main area that we'll be looking into is BlackDragons and what they'll do with Aqua. I think this is exactly where we're going to see Nux.
いやでも後締めでいいんだよなこ
Make
れ。
it to where Clash has to deal with the main onslaught, the main skirmish area that BlackDragons will be providing, and then try and
ウォー
slip
デンもいる
this
し
into
な。
the cracks and really deal with that backline. The minute 18 seconds remaining, we are flying towards a conclusion here.
あ
Be the last round that Furia see for this entire calendar year,
う
Carter.
まい。
If it continues this way.
He just opened up the floorboards. Just by chance, he sees them. They've
あ、まずい。
Clash 2. He turns his
危ねえ。
back. Oh my god. So
奇跡のローリング。
JV92 in such a bad spot. Bird's able to find
いやこれガジェット多いのよ。時間かかってるぞ。指令センターに変えたな。そう、ここアーマーパネルがあるから。あ、アーマーパネルがあるからいけない。あ。 いや、これ、どん詰まりになってるぞ。3枚変わった。クラッシュこっちに配置できるかどうかだな。痛い。あ、これ3枚閉まってる。あ、閉まってるわけじゃないのか。
Smoke canisters go out, complete even 4v4. Warden in the right spot, but can't see through the smoke. Wraps around and shuts down Ask. 2v1. Hornet's got a clutch. He's got
これドントピークでいいからな。
They're split. He's got no information.
チカ。地下。大丈夫か？コーチアドバイスしてるぞ。大丈夫か？コーチクソアドバイスしてたぞ今。
What a crazy match we have in front of us right now. 7-7 on Night Haven. It all comes down to this. Furia, do we get an extra map? Do we see Skyscraper? Do we see Furia try and continue this dynasty streak? Or does BlackDragons finally take to the skies and deliver Furia their first major loss in a very long time, stealing away a major that more than likely means everything to this roster in their current moment?
セ
They
ット
want to be
か。
able to make it to Montreal. They want to be able to defend
一応上を
themselves
取るな。
up against the other top teams in Siege throughout the world. And BlackDragons is the only thing that stands in their way. For BD, this would be their very first LAN in 2 years, folks. That's a huge deal. And for Ask, it's something that he wants to deliver for this club, for this organization. Something that he did time and time again for Liquid. Now under a new banner.
多少は聞こえるから
Looking
さ。
to do what he's done before.
でも今、
Take it to
明らかにヘッドホンずらしてたもんな。
prove that he is an amazing, a formidable IGL. And it all comes down to this. It's going to be a basement defense. An
こうオフラインの強みじゃない？
Dragons. The Vigil will not be in this lineup.
いや、長設置じゃないんじゃないかな。これ、上取りに来ると思うよ。
Inside of the site to delay things
少なくと
out.
も。
Not only that, if Furia do go for this clear, it's made to deny them
ラも入っ
the
てるし。
last portion of the round. And more than likely, the round in general. For BlackDragons, it all comes down to this.
あれ、行かないか？
fact that they just 7-1 a team on the decider in this LCQ. You don't want to light that fire in them. You don't want to get them into this series. Just shut it out here. Make it easy on yourselves. As they hold this roam, Gudo, one of those new pickups, what it means for him, Nux, and Florio to be bet on the rebuild before stage 1 if they're able with this bounce back and performance to close it out against the best of the best.
やっぱ上取りに行ってんな。
Minute 10 seconds in, FURIA have done some work on the breaches, but now they
いいとこドローン入ってんな。このタンクのドローンめちゃくちゃ強いぞ。
This is going to take time and it's going to need effort.
Yep. You have to be worried as well. If this isn't OSA play, BlackDragons have the perfect lineup to try and deal with this. You've got the smoke, you've got nitro cells left, right, and center, and all they have to do is hit their mark. And if they hit it in a convincing way, this could be a crazy drone placement here from KZ. But the key thing is right now that FURIA do not have a lot of map control, ladies.
いやこれドローン入ってるからシフトチェンジしてんな。
They can try and go direct. We talked about it. This bomb site is set up for something like this. They expect FURIA to try and deliver when it comes to a placement.
見えてるかのように追いかけてる。
Could be it. I mean, man, it's like he's got X-ray vision with the way that he's looking at him through this floorboard, but he's not confident enough.
危ねえ。ああ、いいんじゃか。これ起こしに行かないといけないんじゃない？
They're trying to break open the castle barricades. They're trying to rip them down hand by hand. They've got time to rotate up. Pick back up. He's got to cover that vertical.
うわ、トーチで開けるんだ。あ、リバーブしたな。ニトロセルは？インパクトも残ってんな。あ、ガス来た。いや、時間がないこれ。プラントいけてる？あ、プラントの位置分かってない。通った！あ、プラントそっち？いやー、打ち勝った！これ上取れたら話変わんじゃない？
They trap him in their jaws. KZ can't land the shot through the verticality. The second one works.
Oh my gosh.
But they've got it. Herds.
いやー、これピークできないよな。
10 seconds you need to live. 1, 2, 3 kills need to go your way. Just a little bit longer.
うまい。
A couple more shots. Just survive for one.
え、これ間に合ってないんじゃない？どっち？どっち？間に合ってないよね。
I don't know. I don't know if he's got it or not.
You are out.
取ったフリア。奇跡の1秒。スタン自分に入ってた時はやべえと思ったけどな。よーし、最終マップ見てこうぜ。とりあえずペナルティはなさそうやな。お、テルミットバーン。なるほど。手バラをね。あ、賭けしようか。ほい。
The stakes, the moments, the results, the meaning. It is just such it's a seldom occurrence in Rainbow Six. But that's not the end of the story. That's not the end of the series. We have a map 3. We have an epilogue, a third act even, for this story between FURIA and BlackDragons. How will it end? Will BD recover? Will FURIA build off that momentum?
攻めか、フリア。運命の最初の6ラウンドな気がするな。
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And the reason is because you kind of have to give them that benefit of the doubt. This is a team that time and time again has proven everyone wrong, even when it comes down to the wire, when it comes down to the 11th hour. They are the team that somehow, some way, whether it be through skill or a little sprinkle of fairy dust in a round, they are able to pull it across the line. And we saw that on full display once again on Nighthaven Labs. Now we are here in rare air, folks. Very rich air as well, as this map could go any way. I mean, we say it a lot, you know, things rest on a knife's edge. This is...
お、未来人来た？ 74でフリア勝ち？
literally laid out in front of us right here. And I don't think that we can understate that, or rather overstate that enough. This is something that you never really get to see a lot inside of any sports watching experience. And we all get this on a pretty fine Sunday. So I hope you got your popcorn. I hope you have your beverages. And I hope you're ready to be glued to this screen with us, folks. Because Carter and I,
いやでもさっきのマップ決着ついたと思ったけどな。
And it all starts here with round 1 on Skyscraper. It's going to be a T-sided defense to start us off, and it's going to be FURIA trying to do the
まあテルビットいないから L 字張りとかできないんだよな。さあハーデスが進化を発揮するか。
Through the 2 choke points on Skyscraper that every attacking team, if the defense even pays the little bit of attention to it, has to deal with. It's Drum and Shrine. It's what we expect. It is an Azami in Drum, and in all likelihood, that deployable shield is in Shrine on the opposite side. So it's good for Fury to get this control early on. Very quick utility burned afterwards. Destroy that DP. Force the Vulcan pack.
JB がファースト取れないね。
JB92 on a long angle. Taking a bullet to the head from Hornets 9x19, uses the Kiva barricade to get aggressive to push up inside of Drum, but he doesn't need to. He's still got one and an active Kiva on the Drum to play with too. Fury might have moved in quick, but BlackDragons are taking the fight just as quick.
And this is what you're looking
いやこれ芸者取らないときつくない？
That initial pick, you get to play into the powerful setup that Skyscraper provides.
ペリポックスとネイドが回んないとダメなんじゃない？
They're going to be able to hold on to this for an extensive period of time, and this is what complicates things on Skyscraper. It takes a lot of utility to clear this out.
どうすんだこれ？芸者取らないの？
In order to hold on to this as well.
そこあるんだ。
Done, but with a minute remaining, EMP is out. They're going to begin breaking open.
これ茶室取るだけってこと？
So many different coves and areas to play around in this bomb site, Carter. It's still very worrisome.
祭壇から誰か突っ込むんじゃないこれ？いやでもそうだね。この廊下がある限り結構きついんだよな。割れたとて。割れたとてやで。そうだよね。今祭壇バルコニー一人回ったよね。わあ入り直してる。これは青だよな。うわー打ち勝った。さすがのハーデス来たぞこれ。でもプラント位置バチクソ難しいなこれ。あ回り込んでる。
It's a little scary as soon as Ask gets gunned down through that reinforcement, but still a lot to do for FURIA. They still have to get that case down.
さすがにやな。
Get a pseudo 1 versus 2 in that moment. Unfortunately enough, the last remaining members of BlackDragons are able to get the deed done, and they will take the first round. So far, so good for them. The whole is holding up.
まあ JB が初手でやられてよく立て直したけどな。
Make it out of this, at least neck of the woods, alive for right now. But we have a long journey on this path in order to continue trying to deal with this FURIA roster. It's all going to be about the adjustments. We've already seen FURIA try and, do their due diligence, try and keep their foot on the gas, not in a crazy aggressive way, but just go through the motions, take the space that's necessary. And at least in this initial volley, they do not go unpunished. They're able to get that player over into Shrine, but that second player, the Dokkaebi, I do believe, or whoever it really was, moving in through Terrace is the one that ends up getting gunned down by Hornet playing inside of Drum. And that's where the bad news starts for FURIA. They're never really able to recoup from that moment. BlackDragons are the ones that choose to peel things back.
バックで下から行くんだ。いやでもブラックミラー強いぞこれ。直張りしたこれ。
Losing that out in the dying moments. Now we'll be heading over to Exhibition to see what FURIA can provide on their offense this time around.
Likely will be a push from the opposite side, especially with the Dokkaebi. You don't have a lot of good rush operators on board for FURIA either. I mean, of course, you could always rip open a soft wall with the buck and just sprint in like we saw Ask do all the way back on Bank. Feels like a lifetime ago at this point. Probably will be a bit slower, work the breaches on this side, rotate over later on. FURIA will have to worry about those Banshees at some point in the round. House stairs, drum, shrine, wherever. That particular bit of utility is key to counter
ブラッ
Furia's
クミラ
playstyle.
ー後張りすんの
Whether
か
it's
これ。
Banshees or Goo Mines or F Knots, the traps can be one of their main counters and will always force them to burn some utility. Or it's hopping in down below, looking to take down some of those mute jammers, even just pressure any of these defenders from below with that skeleton key. The important that he
階段何も置いてないな。
retake mid round.
FURIA will get their positioning downstairs. This is a solid spot to be, especially if your herds get that skeleton key active, make it to where some of these areas around the bomb site are unplayable. And we don't see this exploited all that often, Carter, although it is readily available to a lot of squads. But just something that can play back in on itself sometimes. So
陽動してんの。
can be utilized by the defense as well. FURIA will lean into this though. Looking to
うわ、
try
それ
and
だ。
break things up on the main office wall. One of these has already been opened up, but it was
あ、
opened
セルはない。
all because of
うわー、
the
ミラー割れないじゃん、これ。
got set up. Some Grim Bees out, a Dokkaebi call too, and FURIA looking to try and get a pick, but nobody's showing face.
Oh, they wanted to use those bees to try and get
いやー、ここのブラックミラー残ってるんだったらもうオフィス攻め 100% 無理だぞ。
Everyone from BlackDragons is either able to dodge the canisters fired by the Grim or just sit on indestructible floor, completely avoiding even the possibility of Hertz taking them down. We'll try again. We'll launch another salvo.
ニアどかしたの。あー、ニトロセル入ってくる読みだね。
The shots are landing exactly when they need to. FURIA are stopped out of again another round. So, switching to the pistol, KZ will get one. We'll finish off somebody at least, but BlackDragons, two defenses now, just consistently the better team. Consistently having not only a lead in control, lead in manpower, but also...
さっきのコーチのアドバイスのやつ早速ツイッターでさらされててくさ。いや、まあそりゃそうだよな。いや、単純に打ち合いが弱くなった。打ち合いでめちゃくちゃ解決してたところが、打ち合いで勝てなくなって、その得意の速攻で囲い込むみたいなのができなくなってる。
Two in a row for BlackDragons. Good start to any skyscraper defense.
BD's doing a great job of playing into Skyscraper's advantages of defense. It's a map that requires a lot of heavy lifting from the offense, but the key thing, the sole factor that's really benefiting BlackDragons right now, Carter, is the fact that FURIA cannot get these big lurking plays off. There's just not a lot of space to work with in that regard. Especially, I mean, think about it. When it comes to this bomb site, the staircase that you use to kind of get a pseudo flank going on, it's literally right next to the bomb site. You can see it from inside of Exhibition. It's not really a flank option. In fact, it's something that's constantly watched by the defense. So instead, FURIA have to go more direct. They have to worry about things like Terrace. They have to worry about things on the extended side as they try
まあロック主体だからね、フェーズとか見てると。後々処理が、後々処理で敗退は決まらないと思う。決めるんだったらこの3マップ前に、3マップスタート前に審議してたと思うよ。なんかペナルティは発生するかもしれないけど、さっきのマップ取ったのは息っていう感じじゃない？じゃないと、あのラウンドから再開だったと思う。77だっけ？あそこ、あの場面が生まれたのって。おもろい展開が私と言ってんだ。
You're feeling very, very okay starting the attack side, especially on a decider. FURIA didn't need to play many attacks in their game against Elevate Academy. It was, after all, 5-1 on defense to start.
なんか一癖も二癖も BD ってなんか用意してるよね。それがおもろいな。
Look outside of the kitchen window to see what utility needs to be cleared. We'll have a geisha hole, FURIA with some vertical holes, and of course bandit batteries to try and maybe trick that geisha wall halfway through the round. Nice early pop on that Vulcan pack. Could set up well for a plant actually inside of kitchen, but by and large, what is that? I think 3 players from FURIA all on the office exhibition side right now. They are not even thinking about the site.
Yeah, and if you're going to get a round on Skyscraper offense, this is probably going to be the one to get. The tertiary site where BlackDragons have to do a lot of different things in order to hold things down. And the main thing is hold space downstairs. You can't just hold on the bomb site, Carter. You have to worry about the booths area. You have to worry about the potentiality of...
ヘイズの彼女がツイッターで警告されただから安心せえって言ってますが、多分大丈夫です。へえ。
As well as BlackDragons has to worry about this top level. They have to worry about Geisha and this verticality. That's exactly what they're doing. FURIA know this, and they'll start to process this top floor. A breaching round out from our Ash, from Herds, as they will start to look for these gunfights at the top level.
いやー、いい引き。
Won't find any.
あっち。
BlackDragons have realized, all right, well, I mean, if you spent a minute and 50 seconds trying to
いい引きだね。
we're not going to give you an opening pick. No, sir.
あ、でもフェリボックスもいい広がりしてるんだ。
You got to worry about delivery and booths, as you said, Sam. But they will try to hold it out down below. This could be risky with all the control they've ceded to FURIA. They are completely above the site right now with 50 seconds remaining. It's a bit of a gamble from BlackDragons, trying to let the utility do the talking, especially with the bulletproof still alive, the two C4s, but Ask looking to get aggressive. Caught either on some verticality or maybe at the window. It's a bit unclear, but he's dead nonetheless. Oh yeah.
この車線か。ただ時間ないんだよね。上から刺した。これでキッチンもういけんじゃないか。多分キッチンでこれもう絞るはず。あとこの食料庫をどうするかだけだね。ああ、泥もあったな。あ、ここの位置がもあったのか。ああ、完璧。食料庫一番最後にするんだね。いや、もうこれはキッチンに近づけないです。めっちゃいっぱい来てる。めっちゃいっぱい来てる。フェリボックスの広がりがうまかったね。
And that's exactly why we were talking about the bomb site in the way that we were, folks. You cannot just hold strictly on the bomb site. Otherwise,
アスクあれ多分打ち込みに巻き込まれたんじゃないかな。
Every single pressure angle available to FURIA in that moment.
わかんない。オンラインの時のルールがどうなってるかわかんないんだよな。まあ基本コーチと喋っちゃダメだと思うけど。
The doorway as well, rather. Just a lot of different things that were.
でもなんかちょっとルール違うんだよね。配信後ろで見てるじゃん。前も俺指摘してたと思うんだけど、他のリーグでさ、配信基本的にオンラインの時も見ちゃダメって話だったと思うんだけど、見ていいっぽいから。
Once FURIA were able to capture that and use that to its advantage, everything fell apart for BlackDragons. They were not capable of standing the test of time. And that really begs the question as to what they try and do in the future if they get that far. Maybe FURIA is able to get a nice round win on one of these stronger bomb sites. But if we do end up crossing that bridge once again, BlackDragons is going to have to try and recreate themselves. I think a little bit more aggression on that top floor. Maybe just take your gambles. I mean, they gambled quite a bit with pulling that back anyways. We definitely visited the casino on that round, and it did not pay off.
And I think if you want to look at what the success of getting aggressive in the face of FURIA's execute can do, I think you look to the very site that we're playing right now, back in round one. I think Ask overplays.
でも遅延あってもさ、ね、あ、2階の守り方先こうだったよってすげえ情報だからな。
That's the exact kind of play we need to see, not only to catch FURIA off guard, but also just to show that that confidence is still there. The momentum is at least still going your way a little bit. So going back to this site, we'll see if that happens again. By and large, it is the same setup, but with some key changes in some important areas. Might be a lot of different operators, but we still have, of course, the Malusi Banshees that we've had basically since, I believe, since round two, that we didn't have it last time. Just try and stop that lurk. Some plant denial, less C4s, more spec.
ようドローンそれ気づくな。
Warden likely still in the all-important position, close on either drum or shrine with a shotgun, and the Azami holding in one of those two as well.
Got our Damosin down low. This is going to be the player inside of Geisha. Frag grenades too, but Nux is going to be found by FURIA. And this is where things
殺しに来るの待ってんだそれ。
all these angles being built up by FURIA. You can see the rappel angles working their way in, but the key thing here is all of these other players we see extended out. They get that nice little pick, and they're more.
ここで逆サイド割りに来るんだ。時間なくねえかそれ。これ逆サイドいない想定でいたんじゃないこれ。いやードローンクソ割られたぞ。人数有利取ってても時間がなさすぎる。寄ってきた逆にカバーが。さすがに。持ってった。
Ask is basically dead. There's not much they can do. Oh my god, JV92 blown away to bits by the shotgun. Fellapox in the 1v3 tries to pick up the pace, tries to take advantage of the chaos, but they've spotted him on the default. Hornets got him dead to rights. They'll force him back. No flashbangs. Just like KZ in Office Exhibition on this same operator, he'll get his one, confirm his kill. 25 seconds remaining. Not a lot of time to even use that active drone in his pocket.
いやなんか全然捕まえられないね。
One player on main, one actually in the site. He can cross right now, but the sprint reveals his position. And FURIA is
全然捕まえられないね。
only dropped one so far. The primary bomb site so far, their domain.
You get a little worried when you see the last remaining players split like that, but fortunately enough, they hear the last remaining FURIA member barely
2本は取らないとフリアきついぞ。
into the top of main. Now, BlackDragons with 3 solid defenses to their name. But that round right there, that round showed exactly what I wanted to see out of BlackDragons, Carter. If you're going to take this map away from FURIA, you're going to have to do it in a convincing way, and you're going to have to do it in moments like that. You have to take it to the house, folks. This is not a team that you can sit idly by and go, we're going to let you set up for an execute, and we're just going to go 5v5 in the bomb site. It's a roll of the dice, but it's a roll of the dice that is an advantage to FURIA, I promise you. We've seen it for years at this point, and it's not something that you ever really want to gift them. And for BlackDragons, I think they found the heartbeat of this defense and how things need to go. Hopefully it's something that not only applies to this defense, but something that applies further on down the line.
なんか2回取れる気配が全くねえな。フリア。カイド版じゃないね。カイド持ってこないんだね。
We do have an Office Exhibition defense right in front of us. I believe, just to check, just to be safe, I think this is their exact same operator lineup, except we no longer have a Wamai and instead have pulled out the Bandit. Bandit is the new addition, and oh no.
これダメージ結構入るんじゃない？
Got a bandit on a camera right below a default wall. I don't like the looks of this, guys. Oh, he's being read like a book. They try to
ほら
the Kiba barricades and Cage
ライフラインで飛んでったぞ。
with an explosive shell.
ドンピシャだったぞ今。
You see those lifeline kills, but BlackDragons think they have a clever play and FURIA blow it to smithereens.
銀メさん累計で46ヶ月のサブスクありがとうございます。
A lot of people going, oh, which FPS is more complicated? This or Rainbow Six Siege? And it's like
2発多分念のために撃ったからだぞあれ。なんかその前にキババリア壊れてたよな。あれキババリアどうやって壊したんだ？キババリアで一発目壊れたのかな？でそのまま突き上げられたのとかって感じなのかな？ハーデスどこで撃ち合ってんのそれ？あ、ブラックミラーここじゃないんだ。
Still anybody's ball game, but some positive things going the way of FURIA right now. The BlackDragons will look to try and bring back across the line.
Just being able to take that bandit on Office Exhibition, you're feeling good. You're feeling really good if you're FURIA. Not only the operator you've killed, but just getting that 5v4. Now you can rotate to the opposite
逆エリア取りに来たけど、ドローンは十分にある。ドローンまでライン上がりそうだね。
Put pressure at the site early on, rotate later. Herd's making his way through. Another Dokkaebi call goes out. I believe that's the last one from JV92 actually.
あのテラスの位置をどうやってどかすかだな。
To push right up to the doorway of Shrine and drop.
Right up on the edge. At the gates of BlackDragons domain. You can see that they have wrapped themselves around this site. You've got players downstairs. We got players on this more forward assault angle. The Ash will break up this mirror window.
おアッシュ持ってきて正解だった。
It is down
あー、
to the
6入ってない。
dying moments of round 5. A 4 versus 5.
わかってる。
On the
降り
house
た。
stairs will discover Armute, and he should be dead to rights at a moment's notice, and he will be. JV92 was the one piloting that drone in the first place, and they've got
もうやられたけど持ってったな、
a 4
ドラゴン。
versus 2 in the dying moments.
Yeah, Gudo's gonna creep forward. KZ is down. Ask, oh my lord, so close on this angle, but he's in a blender. Tries to pull out the secondary shotty. Gudo, nice.
まずいぞ。危ねえ。危ねえ。よく取れたな。リバイブしてもいいかなと思ったのに。フェリポックスの視点だと結構弾避けてるけど、相手の視点方だったら結構すごかったな。大工さんおはようございます。BD 悪くないですよ。全然悪くないです。フリアがなんかいけそうでいけない感じです。
for BD. I think the biggest thing there for them was the fact that FURIA was able to process the map quite handedly. I mean, able to keep things pretty clean.
これ4時どころか5時コースか今日。
And coming out on the other side without really a scratch on them, and let alone that fact, but also were able to keep the collar on BlackDragons. That info game, that info net stayed alive for so very long, Carter. I mean, we were still gathering info at like 35 seconds remaining and making good on that promise as well with JV92.
フリアが圧倒的に有利予想が多かったと思います。
Also finding yet another frag before they actually dawn the doorstep of the bomb site. All really positive notes for FURIA, but can BlackDragons sing a different tune?
They're actually just going back to an old favorite. As they try to bring the Azami the Bandit in the last round, and they say, all right, well, we lost and we try to change it up. How was that round
2回取ってたよね。2回でどこ？ああ、オフィスもう1回あるんだ。まあ、1回よりはマシか。
Going to go back to what they did in round 2, the plan that did not work out with herds on the buck down below and trying to get utility. They instead will mirror more closely the lineup that they just ran. The lineup they just
建物階段割れたくそくね。
But bringing that Brava to hack those Banshees, very good. The Ash to crack the Miras, even better. Or open up a soft wall as well, so you don't have the buck. Both teams making changes, but FURIA still trying to change things up. While BlackDragons
スモーク焚いて割らないんだ。オフィス2枚分からないんだね。
This round means so much to the future of what Skyscraper has to hold. We know how aggressive FURIA can be on maps like this, especially from the defensive end, Carter.
いやー、これいいロックだぞ。
To be able to shut down everything, take all the value out of your lineup.
アスカは完全に孤立した感あるな。
9 times out of 10, they'll let you build it up, won't they? They'll let you get right up to the edge where you're like, oh, I really think that we have the round. Oh, 2 people just died.
うわ
Crazy swing.
ー、アスクうますぎ。
Speaking of crazy things, Ask is going to be the first one to deliver in this round. Is that Nitro Cell will sing onto Nade.
I was like, oh my god, he's going to destroy this.
音聞いてグッと当たったな。
BlackDragons, utility and gunplay have destroyed 2 members of FURIA, fighting back in force on Office and Exhibition. And Ask thinks he can get away with more. Ratting behind the shrine in the cup. He swings with the
アスク強すぎじゃない？
BlackDragons have said, you thought you were comfortable. You thought after a win on the primary site, you would be wrapping up this half 3-3. We've still got
何もさせてもらえんかった。
2 in us. Flawless round for BlackDragons to finish off that half. The clear victors after round 6.
アスクのファースト強すぎるんだよな。
And the reason being is because not only did they go back to that old strategy, but they showed their teeth inside of that, right? They get in the faces of FURIA, and that's something that Skyscraper allows you to do unlike any other map, especially when it works. When it works and you get those big kills, I mean, it is an insurmountable climb to try and bring yourself back into the round. And even a team like FURIA, it is practically an impossible ask And BlackDragons make the most of that moment there. And that was the big adjustment, especially around the way that they played the main breach, Carter. We saw them the previous round go for that bandit trick, try and keep the wall sealed. This time around, instead, what do? They make it to where that area out on side the balcony, it's not nearly as safe to try and play around for FURIA.
いや、BD 全然チャンスあるんじゃない？ここまで BD の攻撃の方が2つのマップともにキレがあったと思うからな。ブリッツの使い方がうまい。耐えれんのか、フリア。罠多いな。
big motion over towards that other side of the building, and BlackDragons are fully prepared for that. They have the angles built up, they have the players implemented, and not only that, but they have those little pocket strategies like that nitro cell flying out, at a moment's notice to catch off FURIA and get those big kills, putting them on their back foot and getting a big round for BD. But hey, I said it during our little analyst desk there. If you were looking to get big rounds on the offensive side, what's the bare minimum? It's going to be 2, and FURIA have at least gotten that done.
1回でデーモス取りに来るね。
They got a 5-1 defensive half against Elevate Academy on their decider on Thursday. I've said it a couple times now, but now it is especially important to drill that.
アスクってさ、ここまでのマップってハドブリーでディフューザー持ってたっけ？出たー、二人羽織。
Double shield play for BlackDragons at the moment. Double layers of Talon shields on top black with a blitz down below to try to
挟みに来たぞこれ。いやでもしっかり見てんなこれ。
Especially have to be careful about this shotgun in close quarters. Nux will peek out, say hello. That's the intel gained by FURIA.
もうこれ裏口階段勝負だ。ん？何が落ちた？あ、ブリッツ落ちちゃった。いいフラグ。
This angle has completely thrown off BlackDragon's strategy. And you can see that by the fact that Nux actually ended up taking that gunfight. He's like, I have to kill Fellapox here. If I don't, then our strategy does not work.
いや、それはきつすぎる。それは無茶。ここも下から上抜こうっていう3段だし。3度目の正直きた。いや、無理。あれ？いやでもディフューザードロップだし HP5 しかないしグドさんも。いやそりゃそうだよね。上の車線ずっと生きてるもんな。いや LTM まだ決まってないよね。LTM って決まったんだっけ？LATM まだ決まってないんじゃないか。What I'm looking at more is it's a poor attack from BlackDragons, at least in that T karaoke round. BlackDragons, or excuse me, FURIA got up to the site. LATM まだ決まってないから、この後くじ引きじゃないよ。今日の昼決まるんだ。じゃあ昼決まった瞬間にグループ戦出るかもね。そしたらチーム紹介動画とかもすぐ作らないとな。でも一通り振り返り見ないと無理か。エレベートとかちゃんと見れてないしな。あと韓国も入れてない。まあ LATM 見てないけど、LATM どっちみちクルエルティなんだよな。頭一つぐらい抜けてんだよな。
Nades as well. You could try to throw up through the vertical hole, and they did start picking up those pieces and putting it together, but only after the blitz died.
いやでもこのフリア来てもなんかそんなに強くないぞ。まあ G2 もそれほどでもないと思うけど。チャレンジャー4ライフが一番、CL 4ライフが一番嫌だと思う。ビッグ3エリアで言うと。G2 もまあそんなもんかって感じだから。このフリアもそんなでもないぞ。結構飲まれると思うけど。あれが間に合わなかったら。準備が間に合わなかったら。
onto the Frost. And that's why that became such a big deal. BlackDragons did not really have a way that was convincing enough to deal with that, minus just trying to take a heads-up gunfight or rush up the stairs to try and kill the smoke. But the smoke was smart enough to not only
これ抜けるのアッシュ。
also continue keeping eyes on that stairwell.
ちゃんとドローン入れてた。
For FURIA at the end of the day, they'll get that round and they'll quickly move us on into round 8.
カイド持ってこないんだよね。
BlackDragons game plan. As for this round, BD, they're looking at something a little bit different. The blitz off the board, and with the Grims, and with the ace to try and assist with breaking up this wall.
Mini bar mirror cracked. A little more concerned to play that position now. So Nade will back off a little bit. But still hold for the time being. Ask on this buck, looking to try and get some quick control on the backside, but FURIA have extended to the opposite. Holding around T and Karaoke, one mirror window present as well. Contesting a large selection of control while defending the core of the exhibition. Bellapox in particular pushed very, very deep in Geisha.
あ、ゲイシャに固めにいるね。
Faces of Florio, Gudo, and Ask. They've got a drone on him. It is spotted by the Azami. So she's aware that the attack is likely going to begin focusing on this position momentarily. But a minute 45 seconds in, FURIA are not giving us BlackDragons are struggling to find solutions for it. Neither of these canisters land to give intel on the Azami. BlackDragons are at a loss for words in round 8.
Yeah, and this is exactly what you expect out of FURIA. We talked about the advantages of the defensive
これでも
side on
分断されてんじゃねえか。
and it plays so well into the hand of FURIA. They know exactly how to get properly aggressive, and although it goes punished right now, it doesn't mean that it can't work out in the last remaining minute of this. They'll lose Nade. A Nitro Cell outside for KZ will go off, but it
時間はないけどファースト取れてる。
a player on the offensive side, although BlackDragons now running into some complications of their own.
Hold on, Gudo, Hornet, what the hell is going on? We started walking into the site and shooting people. JB92's got
さすがにな。
duty, while KZ is stuck dueling Ask
さすがにな。
on the map. Where has this come from, BlackDragons?
キルが開いてないから何が起こってるか全然わからん。
A plan in sight, and all of a sudden they get almost every single kill.
いや、M80 は俺、いけないと思ってたよ。
Dragons. It's hammer or scalpel, and I think we all know the one that they end up choosing.
なんかランクしてる
I
M80
think this is one of those things where it's just a product of timing, Carter. FURIA thinks that they're going to be able to get in front of BlackDragons at the proper moment, right when they start building up for that execute. Okay, let's play around the windows. We'll look for these picks as soon as they enter the building. And both of the
当たりどころ作れてないもんな、フリアは。
completely go awry. BlackDragons wins out both of them.
ファースト取られすぎじゃない？
Kill on one and then stun lock the
ずっ
other.
とアスクがファースト取ってるイメージあるもんな。
Pressure starts to build. FURIA still trying to work that flurry.
M80 が来てくれた方がありがたかったのである。NA ね。
But BlackDragons, they're in
まあでも、ちゃんと強いチームが来たってことじゃない？ ティア2だろうがなんだろう
They'll end up taking out FURIA left, right, and center. Bring it down to just the lone soul inside of the bomb site, and you never want to be that guy in a 1 versus 4.
マップ広がってるのはいいけど、全然相手の配置管理できてないんだよな。
lacking on bank. Nighthaven, everyone was generally at around at least 8 kills. 4 people were double digits. A lot of the same can be said for BlackDragons, except a bit more top-heavy of a performance from Gudo, Hornet, and
ここのバンシ強いね。
It's about the same situation. FURIA all putting in the effort. BlackDragons, one guy not necessarily pulling his weight, but everyone else doing
いや、今のところ BD 優勢だよ。
And the benefit is BlackDragons started on defense. They got that attack. They've made it a 5v3. FURIA elect not to call their tactical timeout and try Office Exhibition a second time. I think that's fair because it did come down a lot to good timing, Sam. Some good coordination in that late round. There were still
ここなんでバンディットなんだろう。あ、来たね、カイド。ついにカイド積んできたわ。バンディット違うところでこれアプローチしてんじゃないか。
At least in my opinion, like substantial changes aside from one good addition, which is the introduction of this hard breach denial, the bandit and the electro clause. It will allow them to open up house wall early thanks to all of those EMPs and those lifelines, but it still might be able to waste some more time for
あ、でも一段だけじゃん。
Well, bad news. The breach won't be fully open to be traversable, but good news for BlackDragons, you can at least hold an angle on it, and that's really all you want at the end of the day, right?
Especially if Nade pushes aggressively in Shrine like he did last time, you can cut off his rotation back to the site.
Oh.
秋猫さん、おはようございます。 いや、フリアだいぶ苦しいよ。
strategy or his main game plan rather really just hold down this shrine side. BlackDragons trying to get a solid read on the situation.
なんか当たり切るのか引くのかがはっきりしてないんだよな、フリア。ガチで。
They have a lot of positive things working their way, and it really starts off with the Ashe as well as the Zofia coming in. A lot of soft destruction to break up flooring and other things, but this is where things start to go the way of Furia. A minute remaining. They're standing tall in their defensive setup, and not only that, but they have a pick on.
ギリギリ8入ってない。
Billy Pox and KZ trying to work together to try and slow down BlackDragons here.
8が入りきらない。きつい。また上がった。
Makes it 5v3 to can just play his life force out more time, but Hornet is able to shut him down.
いや、わかんないぞ、これ。ヘイズの HP ミリだからな。
They had a 5v3 last time, but Florio snapshot onto the Kiba barricade neutralizes the advantage. Now slowly making their way.
あ、わかんないぞ、これ。
No way.
Is on a heater, not losing fights with this R4C and
危ねえ。
his hit list. But a double spray transfer gets Nade a two-piece. Furia stop BlackDragons from seizing match point.
They blackball him in that round, man. That was something
かなり
else.
ギリギリや
I mean,
な。
BlackDragons, it really looked like they were going to make a convincing bid to take away round 9, but instead, Furia, they make matters most when it comes down to the bomb site, and not only that, but the amount of time that they take away from BlackDragons. Again, this is the demon that you have to deal with on Skyscraper. You have to deal with this middle hallway and all this time delay that the defense can set up because there's really no way to
ピークが淡白だよな。
backstab angles. There's
今
no
のなんか
way
キババリア
to
の
catch
頭の
the
出し
defense
方
off
も。
guard. It's
ここネイドがよく止
eventually
めた
gonna
よ。
come down to some heads up gunfights and you hitting some shots.
ここ取ったら1回になるんだよな。
We also saw those out of Furia and they made it matter
まあここ取らないとダメだけど。さっき謎のブリッツ攻めがあったからな。またブリッツで行くの？
as they will shift things back over to T in karaoke to try and tie things up against BlackDragons. And man, do we have an interesting case on our hands here, Carter. 5 rounds already in BlackDragons' pocket. If they get a
一応ね、カバーはあったんだよ。ミラが。でも、なんか、ヘイズが打ち勝てるだろうと思って、あそこなんか置いちゃうんだよね。あれはピークアドバンテージが上だから、まあもちろん頭半個分抜いてきた技術を褒めないといけないんだけど、あそこで見てるだろうなって可能性は、なんていうか、俺でもわかるじゃん。俺みたいな素人レベルでもわかるわけだから、相手の裏をかけてはないよね。あのあたりが多分すごい淡白になっちゃってんだよな、フリア。
If they have good attacks, if they fix those mistakes specifically from the previous T karaoke round.
いや、これファースト取られちゃダメだぞ。
Furia again in a really difficult spot by taking match point away from them. Nux sitting at the barricade. Sam and I both nervous with one player on the opposite side. It is Herds, not the low HP Nade, who will now move deeper into office and exhibition. Got a lot of holes made.
ハーデスめちゃくちゃ動くやん。
Interior walls to get aggressive, but nobody from BlackDragons, at least by my vision, they're really on that side. Instead, actually really spread out attack right now, Sam. They are just probing for as much information as they could find.
Yeah, spread offense, spread defense of this entire time.
うわー、やらかした！
JV92! He tries for the dunk, but he gets absolutely destroyed as Ask turns on a dime and just deletes.
今完璧な読みだったのに。
JV, it's the 9x19, my man. We gotta get this under wraps.
I'm feeling a little scared now, especially as Herds and KZ, the latter tracked big
あ、でもデーモス落としたの。
but it's a trade nonetheless. With
There's a player
JV92,
飛び出してる。
what Nate is outside? Shooting one Claymore, what the hell is this? I mean, you basically can't make it back at this point. Nate will push further.
まずいぞ、これ。
Oh my god, they know it's a two-player hold.
いや、もうそりゃそうだよね。
They know what to deal with. Togudo will push up, needs to win that fight, but KZ's head perfectly framed behind the Kiba barricade. Nate's gamble does not pay off. JV92's whip has bit Furia in the ass. Fellapox can't even win one. Match point again, the second time this series. BlackDragons, one more opportunity to box our world champs out.
いやー、タイムアウトだろ。
FURIA has been doing so much throughout this series. So many times.
全然なんか組織として当たれてないもんね。
Insane things up against some incredible squads. But this time around, I think they've overcooked the meal, my friend. I think this might be a little burnt, especially in that last round. A complete disillusion catches them off guard as they donate a smoke outside, and I think he gets one kill, but BlackDragons end up bullying FURIA inside of the actual building. And let alone that fact, they still have the amount of bodies to just oversee that situation outside. Eventually, the smoke has to bring it back to Bear. He dies, but BlackDragons was already making the move. They realize, they recognize the play card, or they know the amount of bodies that can be on that bomb site now, and it's a maximum of 2. You don't have enough people to be able to watch all of the different ways that this can break down, and BlackDragons take full advantage of that situation. The ace works his way up black stairs. He dusts that FURIA member inside of T, and it all comes down to a lone soul inside of the bomb site to try and win out a round up against 4 hungry BlackDragons, and it does not work out. BlackDragons are the first ones to reach penultimate point, and what an insane map we have in front of us. It could be one round. It could be a crazy amount of rounds as well. We still have OT that could be in the works. But man, am I worried for FURIA. I'm more worried than I was on Nighthaven Labs.
Me too, to be honest. I mean, it's still a skyscraper attack, but as they've reached a match point before, it was
GB がそこでファースト取ってたら世界変わってたろうね。
We had to force BlackDragons to push it to overtime that in the end was meaningless. But now it's BlackDragons who have got us to this point, who in round 10 have been able to put FURIA again at risk of elimination from contention from the Montreal Major. Since Charlotte, this roster, this stack, has not missed an event. It might have changed things up, and this new 5 has only continued the trend. Montreal would be the first in a very long time that FURIA would be absent. BlackDragons feeling the
DD 嫌な戦い方するもんな。
disadvantaged side, excuse me. As we just defend the karaoke, as we defend one of the primary sites, FURIA looking to get aggressive again on the office exhibition side, and BlackDragons, are you ready for it?
Well, with how they've been playing, man, I think they've collected all the Dragon Balls and made a wish. I'm telling you.
後締めしたな今。
Fantastic across the entirety of this LCQ. Just to put this in perspective for some of our people that do not watch Brazil a lot, BlackDragons
これ間に合うんじゃない？間に合わないか。
The entire stage. They didn't do anything.
いやー、スカ写真来た。
Of Brazil.
Best
And a
result,
lot of
OT
times,
loss.
yeah, and that's the craziest thing. They were able to somewhat get close sometimes, but no cigar every single time.
インパクト EMP 持ってるぞ。
BlackDragons have reinvented themselves.
銀行のお返しすんじゃないこれ。
And it seems that they found something that is
見てる？
crazy, something that could be the potential downfall.
すごいところ行ってんな。
Just earlier this year, lifted a
うわ！
in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Sometimes it's about merit. Sometimes it's about skill. Sometimes you just got to get goddamn lucky, Carter. And Philippe Hawks, he's going to be on the receiving end of that luck.
Ask is giggling to himself right now.
ん？
Breaks that barbed wire. Some more shots ring out from Black Stairs. But BlackDragons firmly in the advantage, not only with that 5v4,
潰しに来てる。
but he's got time to figure out where to lurk.
アスクだやっぱり。
Goes on the hunt, but Ask can't be shot. He's
やっぱりアスクだ。全部持ってってる。
Deagle out now. It seems like FURIA might just be cooked. Nade and Herds.
アスク見えてんじゃねっていうぐらい見えてるね。決まった。
It's a 1v5 on disadvantaged attacks. It doesn't matter. Sao Paulo felt like
なんか俺の見たい試合じゃなかったな。まあフリアが負けるのは全然いいんだけどさ。
BlackDragons
なんか何の良さもなく終わっちゃったね。
and qualify for the Montreal Major.
What an incredible moment here for BlackDragons.Ladies and gentlemen, this team has not seen a major
ヤスクが強かったな。
years. This organization has not been on an international stage in what feels like eons in esports time. And yet, this roster has just qualified to the Montreal Major. Welcome back to the caster desk, folks. What a crazy series.
というわけで皆さん4時半までお付き合いいただきありがとうございました。まあフリアはちょっと根本的になんかやんないとダメだろうな。なんか見ててもおもろくない。俺が大好きだったフリアはもういないわ。戦い方がおもろいチームが好きだからな。
And they finally got this insane opponent out of their way. If things would have
いやでもアスカ優秀だと思うけどね、やっぱり。